favorite moment in the entire... Maybe I should complicate this before I start speaking here.
Why, hello there. Welcome to a special live episode of Under Two Capes. I'm here with Tristen from Nerdette's Newstand. What's up?
Hello, Jared. How are you?
I'm doing very well. So today we are talking about a very special topic, what we want to see from DC, because as you know, we're in a transition period from whatever the heck the past 5 to 10 years was to where we are now, where we got James Gunn running the movies, hopefully some coordination with the comics. We got Dawn of DC, so we got a lot to talk about. So I figure we can start with the comics. So,
yay! I was just going to ask, are we talking comics and?
Comics, TV, and movies.
Perfect.
So, what's up, Robert? What's up, PK? So,
Pika Pika.
And what's up, James Knox? So, so I actually had an interesting idea for the comics. So, those of you that don't know, I did a video talking about how useless Steve Trevor is, because he kind of is in the Wonder Woman.
You're starting with the hot takes already. Here we go. Let's do this.
Actually, it wasn't a hot take, because if you look at that video, that was significantly more well-received than my Lois Lane video. Because he doesn't do anything in the Wonder Woman book. He's just there. But
that's so funny. My
idea was have him lead a team of like all the military people in DC and do like military spy-esque stories in DC. So you have like soldiers doing operations in a world where we have superheroes.
So do you mean like take the place of General Lane?
Kind of. You remember in the New 52, they had that book called Men of War?
Yes.
Yes, it would essentially be that.
Okay. I could see that. I could see him being a lot more useful that way too.
Yeah, because let's face it, he's useless as a Wonder Woman character. And here's how we know that. He hasn't been in a Wonder Woman book in a while. Like, I'd say since like 2 years ago is when he broke up with Wonder Woman because she wasn't spending enough time with him. And I'm like, you're dating a Justice League member and you're a Navy SEAL. So you should understand the whole being away from home thing. It just
okay, so with that being said, if that's your idea, what would be your idea for, oh God, I don't know if I want to ask this question.
Oh, I know where you're going. What's up with Justice?
A love interest for Wonder Woman?
Well,
I know the obvious answer.
My ideal situation would involve a reboot of DC, which I do think we desperately need.
I do too.
Because let's face it, the continuity is just a mess right now, and just reboot it from and by reboot I mean hard Flashpoint reboot. Just start slate clean. Particularly when you have the movie starting. But if we're starting a reboot, you know who I'm going to put Superman with because, I mean, well, I just answered the question with Wonder Woman, so there you go. I love that clip. But
I could see it. I think
What's up, Raymond? And Taladia, them's fighting words, dude. Them's fighting
words. Oh,
no,
say that, none of it.
By the way, they say that just to mess with me because they know I'll go off if they mention Wonder Bat.
I mean, I could see it, but here's the thing. This would be, never mind. I was going to say, if we're talking about Wonder Woman as this bisexual icon, why not give her a female love interest for once?
Yeah, but you see, here's the issue with that. I'm fine with that, but the reason why I don't see them doing it is because I'm not sure they could sell a movie doing that concept, and it looks like they're going to try and keep the movies, keep what works in the movies, and keep what works in the comics. In other words, so they really can't do that.
No, I agree. I do think it would be relatively controversial, and that's not the way to go right now.
No.
Not the way to go. So, I think getting Steve Trevor on, I like that idea. Honestly, as far as Wonder Woman though, like maybe no love interest for a while. A competent creative team,
First off, how about a creative team that knows what the hell they're doing? Like, I miss the days of like George Perez. Even Azzarello was pretty good. I'm like, can we get back to the days when people actually cared about Wonder Woman? the most famous female superhero of all time.
The thing is Azzarello did some controversial stuff. I would
Robert,
go with
not true.
Rucka.
Oh, yes, exactly. So Robert says if they do a Superman Wonder Woman movie, it would lock the two together. No, it wouldn't. They could do Superman movies, Wonder Woman movies, and then occasionally they would do like a Superman Wonder Woman movie. It wouldn't lock them together.
That's right.
So anyway, and by the way, Raymond has the abusive relationship right there.
Yes, that's exactly right.
You can't tell me that Talia's not going to kill Bruce in his sleep. I'm just going to give you there.
If he behaves, he has nothing to worry about.
Exactly. But that's exactly my problem. You're not this movie. But in terms of Superman, wipe all of Bendis out. Just completely. Because when you think about Tristen, was there anything in the Superman run that wasn't controversial and wasn't hated by the fans?
No. Not like even the boring ass Leviathan stuff just was so mid. Nobody cared.
Yeah, exactly. Which is sad because Bendis, anyone that's read Marvel for any amount of time knows that this dude can work, can actually have like good stories. And Robert, that ain't happening, my friend. So, based upon sales from DC, I got you beat there. But anyway, see, that's my other issue is because they kept too much of Bendis. Because here's the thing, they could have de-aged John. They really could have, but they won't because that they would get too much backlash or perceive too much backlash because I'm convinced that Twitter backlash is not real backlash because essentially Twitter inflates everything for the most part.
Wait. I would be upset if they de-aged John Kent. So am I not real?
Well, let me put it this way. On Twitter's
not real life. Well, I hate Twitter. Yeah,
exactly. But actually, Tevye had an interesting way to do it and keep John Kent and keep this current John Kent.
Be careful, he's going to show up any minute now.
I know. That's the way it is. We show him up. We say John Kent, Super Sons, or Damian, and within 10 seconds, Tevye shows up. But anyway, what he said, which is actually a really good idea, this is a John of Earth 3 that wants to be a superhero instead of a supervillain. So you could have, and you have John being saved from Earth 3. So essentially you have the young John and you have the older John. Problem with that is that's way too confusing, particularly when they just brought in two more super people into the super family.
Ashura and Asura, or whatever their name is. I don't think that would work anyways. They're going to make the first, out Superman a villain. You see how that
No, he's not going to be a villain. He'll still be a superhero. He'll just
I thought you said he'd be a villain.
No. That's his way of rebelling against his father, Ultraman. He's like, I'm going to be a superhero.
Oh, okay. I could see how that would work, and I actually think that story could be told if it is
if you have a competent creative staff, which a lot of DC is not competent.
That's the issue we always fall back on.
Yeah, I know. There are ways to do this. I'm just saying. And also, here's the thing. If you're going to keep Lois Lane in the picture, make her do something. Because besides being...
Literally anything.
Besides being the one that Superman always has to save. Because the thing is that, Greg... here we go! That Greg Rucka series... We literally said, Tevye, Super Son, the word Super Sons 10 minutes ago. But anyway... because that Greg Rucka Lois Lane series made her do something new and cool. She was investigating. The problem with that is that because I think a lot of fans prefer to have her be the damsel in distress, even though how they sort of attribute to feminism and stuff. Because here's the thing about Superman fans. They hate change whatsoever.
Yes.
You see this with the trunks.
Comic book fans in general.
Yeah. We see this with the trunks, the new 52 suit, if the movies deviate in any way from the comics, even though they don't, or when Superman's with Wonder Woman. I've heard people say, oh, it's always been that way. Doesn't mean it's the right way. Just saying.
Right, exactly.
Exactly. But it's the thing is that it's here's the thing: the super family is it's people say it's hard to write. It's not actually hard to write if you know what to do. That's the thing there.
Okay, they're really focusing on the super family right now.
Yeah, which I love.
I do, but here's the thing. I gotta ask, do you care or give a shit about Ashura and Asura?
Nope.
Yeah, okay. Like, I understand. This is exactly what Superman would have done. He would not have abandoned these children. He would not have. But they gotta do something. First off, maybe give them a nickname, because I'm sure I'm saying their names wrong. And they've got those weird Philosian names that are very hard to pronounce. Give them a nickname. Call them freaking Bob and Kane. I don't care.
Yeah.
Anything.
And by the way, Robert, my reasons for having this argument goes back pre-New 52, just saying. So anyway, sorry, I had to address that. But yeah, I do agree with you, because they introduced these newer characters. You know why they introduced them? Because they want to have the Super Sons without de-aging John. Yeah. And the problem is, honestly, you can't do that.
The issue also is you have to give them a personality. John and Damian had a very clear personality, and these two do not.
Yeah, I'm just like, dude, I get what you're trying to do. It's not gonna. I don't think it's gonna. I think a lot of this is gonna lead to an eventual reboot, because I don't think a lot of these Dawn of DC things are gonna work. Honestly, that's just the cynic in me. I want to be wrong,
right?
But
I understand.
It's may not work. So, Batman, publish less Batman books, because here's the thing: you have.
Wait. What about Supergirl? You didn't mention Supergirl. We need the super skirt back.
Yeah, I'm cool with that.
I was gonna say, like, Supergirl and Parents is just Karen. Okay, that would actually be Power Girl, but
yeah,
still.
Exactly. But by the way, it's tied to a lot. I just use New 52 in the conversations we've had, because those are the first examples that come up to my mind. But I can get a lot, because I have a friend who is a nerd about this type of stuff, and trust me, I'll ask her, and she'll get me all the information I need pre-New 52. It wasn't just the New 52. So now, yes, super bikini for extra people. Yes. All right. So, and what's up, dead guy? How you doing? So, and thank you, very much appreciated. So, for Batman, I think they should publish less Batman books. Here's why. Because they have what I call the Bat Cushion, where it means it doesn't matter how good a book does, because Batman is going. The sales from Batman are going to make it so it doesn't matter how well the Superman book sells, which that shouldn't be the way. It's like, I get Batman sells, but you don't need 80 Batman books. You just don't.
Also, I think with the Batman books, they do a lot of Black Label, and it's just basically become the Bat Label.
Yeah, exactly.
They need to expand upon that label. There's so many good characters.
Watch. What you'll see is that the Black Label logo will slowly start to morph into a bat.
And
then it'll become the Bat.
That's not even a joke. Yeah. Like, there's been one Superman book? One? And it was by Bendis, wasn't it?
Actually, it was by Frank Miller, because
oh my god, yes, that's what it was, and it was terrible.
It was a little bit like, whoa.
It was, you can say what you really think. It was awful. It was awful.
As much as I like Frank Miller's writing, even I have to admit that was a little out there, and it went all over the place. He was going from girl to girl to girl to girl. He was going from era to era to era to era. The only thing I kind of liked was Superman trained to be a Navy SEAL. That was pretty dope.
Oh yeah.
But and then still wouldn't kill. So I'm like, oh, okay, that's actually really nice. And Tammy brings up a good point. Yeah, Tim Drake. Thank you, Fitzmartin.
What is wrong with? And I don't think Megan Fitzmartin is a bad person. I don't think she's probably a cool person to talk to. But why does she? What's going on in your head, honey? Who do you hate? Like,
no, you know what it is?
You made Tim Drake puke in the last issue in order to beat the villain. You made all the characters in Dark Crisis, you made Batman biphobic. Like,
Batman, who, as far as I know, would be like, okay, is it gonna affect your ability to operate? In other words, no. Okay, fine. But here's the other thing. I think the reason why she made Tim by the way, I have a theory, is that she's a shipper of Tim and
Connor.
And slowly she's gonna start trying to do that if DC does not like get her off the book.
I'm gonna start shipping the Flash and Nightwing. I decided that.
Oh boy.
And I'm gonna see if it sticks.
That's gonna turn out well.
That's gonna be my new thing. I'm gonna do videos on. I'm just gonna see if she starts noticing, and then we'll see if we can get her on a book.
Watch, you'll be the reason for that. You'll be the reason for that.
No, I'm just kidding. I love Wally West family.
Yeah, of course. It's Wally. Who doesn't love Wally West? Not Wallace West.
That's right.
Wally West. That was the one thing of the new 52 where I'm like, well, that was stupid.
Yeah.
But so another place that I think needs some help is Green Lantern, because the Grant Morrison stuff significantly screwed that up, because he pretty much treated like everything from Jeff Johns was gone. Like everyone was dead. It's all gone. And I'm like,
that always confused me, because was the Green Lantern, was that canonical?
Yes, it was.
I'm assuming it was. Okay. So that means that Hal is now pansexual.
Well, did he ever say in the book that he's pansexual? No. Because the way I see it, if the writer says anything, that's fine. You can say whatever the hell you want, but if it's not in the book, it's not canon. I don't think. Here's the one thing about Grant, and I like Grant a lot. He's a fucking crazy person, though. Oh, and he doesn't Final Crisis. You know that. Yes. And he also doesn't understand like current politics the way that he thinks he understands them. So he came out as non-binary a while back. And then he's trying to say that Hal is pansexual because he was interested in an alien. But an alien of the female race. That's the difference. That's because pansexual is not because that's not pansexual. Yeah. It would be another thing if he was attracted to a male alien, but you notice it's only female alien. Yes, and maybe he's interspecial. Is there a word for this? I don't know, but still, that's it still counts as straight because it's still female. Yes, and it would be different if it was like a male to female trans alien or something, but it's just not a chick that was interesting, like just look like a chick alien. Mm-hmm. The other thing I kind of want to see is a Jessica Cruz book. She needs her own book. Okay, wait. What do you think of the new announcement of the new Green Lantern series? Yeah, I'm like, I figured Tamaki was not going to last because I don't know. It's I didn't see her writing Green Lantern. But it's Jeremy Adams, which is fucking amazing. Heck, I honestly have a lot of like I don't get the Mariko Tamaki hate. I like Mariko. But Jeremy Adams, I adore his writing. So I have a feeling this is going to be really, really good. Well, yeah, and see, here's the thing. The Mariko Tamaki hate stems purely from that I Am Not Starfire book, which, okay. Every writer has had one bad book. Yes. Some have had more. Tom Taylor. But in continuity. In continuity, I'm more right on that. In continuity, I'm more right. But I mean, I wasn't like, because I'm more of the opinion of, okay, just give the writer a chance. I gave Bendis' Superman a chance. We all know how that turned out. Yeah. You're brave. Yeah. But it's, I'm that much into self-punishment. But anyway, yes, so that's really where I stand on, like, what I really want to see from DC. How about you? I would love to see a Jessica book. Here's the thing.
I would love them to dive, and I'm not the biggest Green Lantern person, but I would love to see them dive more into the mythos. Now, we saw the stuff from Jeffrey Thorne.
Yeah.
And it wasn't awful. It was decent. It was his own thing. Now let's involve and kind of go back to basics. Go back to having a central battery. Go back to these things. Can we get rid of Teen Lantern? I get it, Tavia. But let's
the whole idea about how you can hack that. What?
Wait, you broke up for a second. I don't know if it's on my end or yours.
Oh, am I back?
Yes, you're good.
Okay. But I just love Tavia. Can we get rid of Teen Lantern? Yes, please.
And Far Sector. I don't hate Far Sector, but ever since that video or that story in Pride, so the Far Sector book by J.K. or N.K. Jemisin, I think it is, was beautiful. It was well done. And then they put this character that is fleshed out and well done in the Pride book because she's bisexual and make it so it is so stereotypically bad that it ruins part of the character. And they need to start, and that's one very important thing that this side stories need to realize is you can do damage to the IP by not being able to write good side stories. You're making, they literally made her look like she was just down to fuck. That's why she was bisexual.
Yeah. Oh, and by the way, dead guy, no, they're not dead. They're going to be down probably sometime in the summer, I think, is what that new image showed that the Justice League is coming back. Because the Titans can't hold down the universe by themselves. I got news for you. That lineup is not going to be able to do what the Justice League does.
I think it's more like of a reorganization.
Yeah, exactly. But I agree with you. My thing about it, about when they do like... when they have bi characters and they do the Pride thing is that if you notice that a lot of the times it's actually bad. So really what it turns into is that it's actually hurting LGBT people. That's what it does. They don't put competent writers on this. So it ends up hurting that community more. And plus, here's the thing.
And the IP.
Yeah. So we hear a lot on the internet about essentially the WOKE word, which we got it. But and that's a word I think has lost all definition. The way I define it is essentially a writer inserting their own personal politics into a character that would disagree with their personal politics and making that character a fan of their politics. Like that one writer that had Batman avoid a riot.
Yes. I think that's a pretty good definition.
Woke. That's woke. Them making a character that had no history of being about whatsoever, showed no indication. All of a sudden, like in the previous issue, they were 100% straight and narrow. And then the next one they're bi. That's woke in my mind.
I can understand that definition. Usually the problem with it is it's so from person to person.
Yeah, I know. It's just story-wise. It doesn't... you have to do things a certain way when you're writing a story that I get it doesn't reflect real life, but for the flow of the story, because it's too jarring. Because take Tim Drake. It's like all of a sudden it was like out of nowhere. I'm like, what? Wait, what? Or like Iceman from the X-Men. Everyone was like, where did this come from?
Oh, Iceman was so bad. Iceman was so bad.
That's a
and the thing is has Iceman ever recovered from that?
No, they made him a stereotype of gay people. Like, that's my other problem. They can't make it like, okay, so this character happens to be bi or gay or what have you, but they're also doing this. They always have to make them 100% like the stereotype that you think of when it comes to LGBT people. And Dave the Imperial says, just incorporate LGBT characters into the story naturally, casually. Don't bring attention to their orientation because writers can never handle like race. So that's another thing. They make, and this is a problem with like a lot of different characters, whether or not they're black, Asian, whatever. they make the writers make that characteristic all that character is. That's it. They're not like a badass Green Lantern. They're not like a badass Kryptonian, what have you. That's why I like Jessica Cruz, because she's like female Latina, but is 100% that's not in any way her character, except for that one like Black Label book where they used her as like a
well, that was terrible. The thing
remember this?
Oh my God, so bad. But the thing about Jessica that's so great is this idea of what Green Lanterns mean, right?
Yeah.
What is important is that Jessica overcame something that at one point in our life we can all relate to: fear, anxiety, not wanting to talk to people because of that idea that maybe you'll be rejected. Being, she took it to the extreme. She was agoraphobic and stuff. Yeah. But that fear, having to overcome that and then be always on the fence with the Yellow Lanterns and maybe regressing back. She was so strong in her ideals in the way that she became. She wasn't perfect. She overcame a lot. And she earned the respect that a lot of people give Jessica, because Jessica's my favorite Lantern, period. She's amazing.
I vacillate between her and Hal.
And that's fair. I just think Jessica has, and Hal's awesome too, don't get me wrong, but Jessica just has this amazing story that I personally find more, like, you can fight bad guys, you can do these things, but your head can fuck you up worse than some outside force. And she overcame that, and I love it.
I got that Jessica Cruz graphic novel in a bundle on eBay, and I'm still trying to give it away. Thanks, Dave. But what's actually, but yeah, that's the thing about Jessica Cruz, because say what you want about that Green Lantern movie, though, the one good part about it, I think we can all agree on, is that one scene where Hal thinks being a Green Lantern is about never feeling fear, but then Carol's like, no, it's about overcoming fear.
Yes.
That's what they tell you when you're offered the ring. You have the ability to overcome great fear, and she has done it all the time.
I want to touch back on something you said with the going back a little bit to the woke stuff where you talked about coming out as queer and stuff like that in the books. I think one thing that DC needs to look back at their own history and realize Batwoman did it correctly.
Yeah.
Batwoman was a character that was openly queer, came out in the book. Oh, yes. Yes, they're amazing.
Yeah.
But she was a superhero and queer. And it wasn't a big deal. It was just her.
And that's my other issue with DC. They have to stop changing characters and use the characters they have for these communities.
God, yes.
Because when they just have that's my other problem. That's what I mean when like a character comes out like all of a sudden out of nowhere, because I'm like, I get that happens in real life, but when it's different when you're essentially writing characters, and I'm like,
well, they are, to be fair, they used Midnighter and Apollo for the War World story. Hopefully we get more of them. They are using Ghostmaker in the Batman Incorporated book.
Yeah.
And that's a new creation that people like. I love Ghostmaker. I think he's an amazing character, and he seems to have stuck.
Yeah.
But you're right. There are characters like Batwoman. There are characters that can be used that honestly kind of deserve it first than a brand new character.
Yes, exactly. Because I got
line cutting.
It's like the biggest lie in comics. I will die on this hill. Is that I've heard people say that comics have always been just white characters, white straight characters, and I'm like, well, no, because Jon Stewart is like from the 70s. You have all these different characters that DC just doesn't do anything with them. If they did stuff with them, I guarantee you that whole argument would go right out the window. And you wouldn't have to
Well, that's the problem, though. They're not doing anything with them. They've got even characters in the Titans, Bumblebee and Guardian, and these characters that were people of color. Now, with queer characters, it's a little more mucky because of the Comics Code Authority. You could not show anything like that. So that's a little bit more mucky, but bring in the 90s and we've got characters that are. use these characters. If you're going to create new characters, maybe have their stories intertwine. Don't pull a James Tynion and create 10 new characters that actually are intriguing and then throw them out the window.
Yeah, and that's the that's where the whole woke thing comes from. What I've heard from anti-woke channels is that the thing is that they have all these different characters, but instead of using those characters they already have, they just change established characters like John Kent. Because what was the headline?
John was not an established character. He has been queer more than he was a kid.
No, but I'm saying at the time he was. Okay, that's true. But what I mean is,
Tim's a good example.
Tim Drake is an excellent example. But what I was going on for, like John Kent, you take a character that was universally beloved. First off, you like age him up, which that was your first mistake. But
right.
But my issue was the only reason why they made him bi is because so DC could have that headline, bisexual Superman. That's it. Because a lot of people said they made Clark Kent bi. And I'm like, no, they didn't. That's why they did
those people weren't ever going to buy the comic, though, anyway. You know what I mean? Like,
well, that's true. And a lot of the audiences that DC keeps trying to pursue don't buy the comics. That's the problem. Right. They keep making all these changes, expecting like an influx of people to come in and buy the comics because they're all of a sudden like diverse, which that they always were, or and guess what? It just doesn't work. Sales wise, because by that logic, DC should be doing fantastically right now. And guess what? They're not.
What? Where is their over sexualized? I'm not trying to like bring your comments in, but what? Where's their over sexualized comic stuff?
I mean, if it's indie, well, yeah, that's indie. But
like sex criminals or something.
Oh yeah, I'm not talking about. I don't think there's that much like over. I think what he means is like that Harley Quinn trailer for like the Harley Quinn movie. But I'm like,
that's not made for kids.
That's an adult show. That's a very clearly adult show. Oh, by the way, yeah, if they wanted a gay Superman, but see, they wanted the Superman tag on it. That's why. It's
I do agree. I would love an Apollo book though.
Oh, that's what I need. That's what I want, actually. More books with established LGBTQ characters. Because guess what? There are a lot of really great characters in that community of characters. Let me put it this way. For the longest time, well, this is a different community, but bear with me. My favorite Green Lantern for the longest time was Jon Stewart. Because I was a fan of the Justice League show. And I didn't know Hal existed. So I'm like, how's this white guy? And then when you're introduced to like the other characters of the Green Lantern, I'm convinced the Green Lantern Corps is actually the best example of this because you have a diverse cast of characters that are all fantastic and all really could hold down a book in their own right if given the opportunity. That's why I say a Jessica book because I think she could do fantastically.
100%. 100%. I agree. I think the Green Lantern stuff should be next on the block where, you know, we get Batman all the time. Now we're getting a focus on Superman. We need to go Green Lantern and then Wonder Woman. We need to build these IPs back up.
Now let me ask you this. How would you fix Wonder Woman?
First off, you need a new writing team.
Yes.
You need a new writing team and you need to bring in, was it Joelle Jones that did the Wonder Girl book?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
You need somebody that Wonder Woman is female. Let's dive into that a little bit because if you extenuate and bring somebody in that can draw that female very well, and that's why I say Joelle Jones, her art is stunning.
Absolutely.
I would love to see her draw a book. Now, not necessarily write a book, but I would love to see her draw a book. Did you read Mariko Tamaki's Wonder Woman?
I read a few issues. My thing, and I agree with you on this because I've said for the longest time, I miss like sexy Wonder Woman. Because if you look at her like in like the even before even the Rebirth era, she was more feminine, more attractive. She's supposed to have the beauty of Aphrodite. Yes. Then when you see how she's drawn recently, it's not the best. And I'm like, Joelle Jones could do it. Oh my gosh, Joelle. Because I've seen her other DC stuff, like I'm reading Superman American Alien, and she did a story in there. And oh my gosh, yes.
I would love, and then like that's why I mentioned Mariko Tamaki, because she knows how to write females very well. But I mean, I'm sure there's somebody like I would love to see Greg Rucka back. He's given us great stories, but that's the most important thing is the writer. And when you have people like Becky Cloonan and Michael Conrad, who I only drop books if they're terrible. I haven't read Wonder Woman in Amazon Trial of the Amazons. What? It's been a year, probably.
Wow.
And it's absolutely not been worth my time or money. They need to bring somebody in that can revamp it and make her important again, because she is important.
She's in the Trinity. She's not even, ignore the Justice League. She's in the Trinity, which are DC's 3 most important superheroes.
But does she feel important right now?
No, she does not. Absolutely not. She should feel important, but she's not.
She hasn't felt important since Dark Knight's death metal.
Yeah, exactly. You could. Here's the thing. It's gotten to the point where you could take Wonder Woman and put her on her own Earth and get rid of her, and it wouldn't affect DC that dramatically.
Yeah, you're not wrong at all.
I'm sorry. That's just the way it is.
And then you also need to build up Artemis, Cassie, Yara,
and also
Hippolyta.
Can we get a Nubia book where everyone is not going, you're so great! Oh my gosh, yes, Queen! And I'm like, that is so stupid. I
didn't buy it
for that. I was excited for that Nubia and the Wonder Woman and the Justice League book, because I was like, okay, that's cool. They're adding up a new character. Let's see how that changes the dynamic. I open up the book and I'm like, oh, this sucks. You got Black Canary. You got Black Canary doing this. Oh my gosh. And I'm like, oh my gosh, this is so stupid. And yes, I would love for Artemis to get more of a focus, because if you want a badass Amazon, Artemis.
Well, now we've got, why aren't we focusing on the idea of something that was established right before the Amazons was why we've got the Bana McDaw, we've got the Amazons, and we've got the Esquisitas, or however you say it. There's 3 different tribes now, and it's gone nowhere.
How about a civil war?
That would actually be pretty entertaining. I would love that.
I never found Wonder Woman very attractive in the comics until Gal Gadot was incorporated. Yeah, that would do it. It's kind of funny. I was watching the early Fast and the Furious movies where she first shows up, and you could tell she improved as an actor going from this to Wonder Woman.
I've never seen the Fast and the Furious movies, but I know she's in it. God. I think I've seen one and 2, maybe.
That was like her first acting role, and her like her accent is more thick, and you can tell she's from Israel. And I'm like, okay, so I could see where you definitely got acting lessons when you after Fast and Furious, because even from 4 to 5, she got better. I was like, oh, okay, I see what's going on here. Can we also have Cassie Sandsmark get her own book again? Ooh, how about
why not Wonder something Girls like book? Wonder Girls, like Batgirl?
Exactly. They should do that. They need to focus on Wonder Woman as a superhero, not an Amazon warrior. Yeah, I agree with you on that one, because she is a superhero. When was the last time Diana was used as a superhero?
Don't know. Drop the book.
Yeah. But I don't read New Wonder Woman. I just read whatever the hell I remember from the past. That's generally what I do. Connor is too much of an established character. Okay, so they're talking about something else. But yeah, I definitely agree with you, because again, Wonder Woman is so important, and they don't treat her like that. It's so bad. Hey Otis, it's just so bad. So what else you got? Who else do you want to improve?
I do think that we brushed over Batman a little bit, but I think there is a lot of characters. We've talked a lot about building the area around them. Batman has a good area around him. He's got Harley that's got her own book. He's got Nightwing. He's got Tim Drake. Can
we burn that book?
Can we just cancel it? I can guarantee it's going to be canceled soon.
Oh, I get watch. You'll start seeing Fitzmartin get less and less books.
Thankfully. But I do think there are characters in the Bat family. Like, remember that Urban Legends book that did like 4 different stories?
Mm-hmm.
I think that was a really good idea, but I think it needs a headliner. I think we need like a Red Hood. We need a Huntress.
I want a Red Hood book. Was Urban Legends the book where they kind of where like for Internet Clout they kind of implied that Batman was bi, even though he wasn't really? They weren't really implying that.
No, that was what was that called? That was Chip Zdarsky, and I can't remember.
Yeah, you know what I'm talking about though, because I was reading that and I was like, he's not bi. This is just what Batman does.
Yeah. Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about. The Night, I think maybe it was. But what they need to do is continue that buildup of those characters, rebuild up, because we've had great Huntress stories. We've had great Nightwing story. Well, we've got Nightwing now, but all of the Bat family, do a Bat family book where you've got one story about Orphan, where you've got one story about Huntress, where you've got one story, and have it continue and go in arcs. I would like that in a way that is not the Urban Legends book, because that devolved very quickly.
Yeah.
And it was because they put on writers that were not known. They put on writers that didn't have a lot of experience. They had a whole 6 issues where it was like Vita Ayla doing a shipper story of Zatanna and Batman. Don't do this. Focus on tying it in to the main Batman story where it feels natural of what is going on around Batman. But I would love to hear that.
But that requires creativity, and a lot of people that work for DC are not creative. But
that's true.
Raymond says we need more new gods, with the exception of Darkseid. I'm like, yes, please do that.
I agree. 100. Like,
here's what I want. I want an origin book for Darkseid.
Ooh. Has that story ever been told?
I think it's been told like once or twice in like the distant past of DC. And
like in Forever People or something long ago.
Yeah, we need that, because that's actually a pretty dope origin. I'm curious. Well, Wonder Woman has always been pushed and features part of the Trinity, but yeah, exactly. Because think about this, and I've said this long on the channel. Wonder Woman doesn't really have as many defining stories and runs as Superman or Batman or even Green Lantern. Right. It's more like just Raka, George Perez, Raka.
Yeah.
And that's it. Maybe Gail Simone.
Yeah, Gail Simone has said, oh, you said Gail Simone. We need a Gotham City Sirens book. I'm just putting it out there.
Yes. And like maybe a Birds of Prey book, but one that actually, because here's the problem. They shouldn't have called that movie. They should have called that movie Gotham City Sirens, because guess what? You can't have the Birds of Prey without Batgirl.
No,
you just can't.
And that Cassandra Cain was a joke.
Thank you. Someone admits it. Oh my gosh.
She was so bad.
I'm like, have you ever read? Because if you want a really bad, because this whole movie is supposedly about female empowerment, but you significantly nerf one of the most badass characters in all of DC.
The only there's a couple redeeming parts, but the most redeeming character for me was actually Black Canary. I thought she was kind of cool, but
she used her powers once and they got knocked out by them.
Yeah, but the character was there. The way that the actress carried herself was very well done. And then I realized she was Jussie Smollett's sister.
And then you're like, maybe I misspoke her.
Yeah, but like, you can't do Black Canary without fishnets. Come on.
Exactly. And you can't, honestly, you can't really do Black Canary without Green Arrow. And here's the thing. They skipped so many, because what they wanted to do, what they could have done, they should have waited until they established like the Justice League characters in the movies before they started doing all these B and C tier teams and characters. Because guess what? No one knew what the Birds of Prey was. That's why a lot of movie theaters had to change the name to Harley Quinn.
Yeah, I remember that. That's so dumb.
And what the hell was up with that long title? just call it the Emancipation of Harley Quinn, or just call it Harley Quinn. I was like, the heck was, what would people think? Although Ewan McGregor's Black Mask was pretty spot on. That was good.
Ewan McGregor is a good actor, period. So if he's given a role, he's going to make the best out of it.
Oh, I would read this book.
I would champion this book. Yes.
That would be so cool. They need to do more like ballsy stuff in their books. Like really, really,
Take
really
chances.
crazy stuff. Take chances. Because let me put it this way. Again, this is why I say the over-reliance on nostalgia that the comic book industry has is hurting the comic book industry, because they're not willing to take chances, because they're like, we'll upset the people that grew up on these characters. Well, I'm like, guess what?
They're already upset.
You're going to piss them off no matter what. And second off, you're supposed to be looking for also new people. Granted, don't like piss off the older fans. That's where this current crop of writers are falling apart on. What you have to do is make sure that you're both appeasing them and doing new stuff. That's why I think instead of a reboot, the new 52 should have been like DC's Ultimate. That's what it should have been. Just a side universe on the side here.
That would have worked, yeah.
From the beginning. Because guess what? Then you have your stuff and my stuff. The universe that's old and convoluted, and Superman wears his underwear on the outside of his suit for no reason. And the part where he has a costume that makes sense and is dating someone that's not annoying as hell.
Oh my God. Yeah, I agree. Like, we gave them, you could do an Amazonian Civil War, Gotham City Sirens versus Birds of Prey. These are ideas where DC take a chance. Now, I will give them credit. I think they're taking a chance with Titans stepping in front.
I'll give you that. That's why I have a little bit more optimism for Dawn of DC.
Yeah, I do too. Did you see that the Cyborg book was announced yesterday?
It looks good.
The thing is, okay.
And they're not
it's a brand new writer.
What part of the Superman character is defined by those trunks besides looking dumb? And by the way, here's how I know this. Here's why I made that video real quick. So there was a movie on Netflix that I was bored and decided to like check out called We Could Be Heroes. It's a kids movie. I was bored. That's basically a sequel to Shark Boy and Lava Girl. And then they talk about being superheroes. And they're like, superheroes wear their underwear on the outside of their costumes. And I'm like, okay, I got to address this because these characters are a joke now because of that.
I get it. I think it's the nostalgia.
I only said that to set it up. I'm so easy to set up apparently. But anyway, so what we were saying beforehand, because they need to take more. And again, Dawn of DC is checking all those boxes that I've been saying DC has to do, including putting competent creatives putting the creatives that fit right, that fit with the characters. Like you have,
except Cyborg. That's what I was saying. Yeah. And no disrespect to the writer, I'm unfamiliar with them, but they won that milestone apprenticeship thing.
Oh, that.
So they're brand new, and they're starting off with a big book. That's a lot of pressure.
That's the other thing. I would establish in DC a hierarchy that you actually have to work through. In other words, you start on a C, D tier list character, or maybe B, and then you have to work your way up until like the characters that can headline their own books. That's the way I think DC should do.
Well, I will give them credit also, and I seen somebody say it earlier. Doom Patrol, they should make very similar to Uncanny X-Men. I think Doom Patrol coming back is a really good sign that they're willing to take a chance. Doom Patrol is an awesome team that people are unfamiliar with. For the most part, besides the TV show. And they have a lot of weird quirks, and they were able to make things work that didn't necessarily make sense. Like Danny the Street. Danny the non-binary fucking Street. Yeah.
They're basically DC's X-Men. But the other issue that I see, the other thing, first off, RIP to Doom Patrol. We got that news yesterday, which you had to know. You had to know that was going to happen, because if they're going to tie in all the TV shows and movies and stuff, they have to just clean slate.
Yep.
Clean
I
slate.
think that was
And it's
pretty
funny,
predictable.
all the Doom Patrol fans that now know what we went through when he said we're not going to have Cavill back. Now you
Doom
know
Patrol
what we went
was
through.
better than it had a right to be, though. That's a great show.
It was. Oh, it was. So make Cyborg some kind of a gem. And Tevia, Cyborg does need his own book because they're trying to push him as like this big character. Justice League should have been that. If the Snyder Cut had come out instead of Justice League, Cyborg would have been that big character. Because even you admit he was better. He was way better in the Snyder Cut.
It not only way better, but he was fair. He was a great character.
And fun fact, that would have come out pre-Black Panther, so DC could have gotten the first black superhero on film, which, by the way, Black Panther was not. That was Blade, but that's besides the point. But
Black Panther was almost had become this kind of cultural revolution.
True.
At that point.
James Gunn, here's what the people want: good movies and TV shows. Ain't that the truth? We haven't gotten that in a long time.
DC we have to.
DC fans,
Doom Patrol.
Yeah. Well, I'm saying, well, here's the thing. That's just one show.
Titans, season 3 at least.
Titans was okay at certain
I mean, season 4 at least. Season 3 was terrible.
I love how in the most recent thing of Titans, they started to push that whole Tim Drake and Bernard thing. And I'm like, I saw that coming a mile away. And I was like, oh no.
Okay, here's the thing. I can make an argument for that. I do not think it is well done in the comics. In the show, they take their time. In the show, they establish the looks and the back and forth and the text and the different things. They actually do it justice. It feels organic. It doesn't feel like it's a shipper wanting to put her own views in.
That's true. And here's the thing. At least they're keeping it like synergy with the comics, because here's the thing. That's why I was like, okay, in Gotham Knights, there's a pride flag on the wall, and I'm like, well, at least you're maintaining some measure of consistency from book to game to whatever. So I'm like,
I would even argue in Gotham Knights it was better done.
Yeah, they didn't address it in Gotham Knights. That's the thing, except for like in emails or something like that, I think.
Well, even like Jason was like, why didn't I get invited? Does he think I don't want to be like, it was well done. It was more like the family's reaction of wanting to support him and that they would.
That's what, and by the way, Gotham Knights is a criminally underrated game. Fight me on that.
Yeah. Oh God, I love Gotham Knights.
I love Gotham Knights, but Marvel fans accept everything that's given to them, and that's why. Yeah, exactly. With Marvel fans, it's just if you put the Marvel logo on it, they'll be like, "It's the greatest thing ever." And but both these shows are good. Which, by the way, I've heard that Superman and Lois is going to be gone after this season.
I'm sure it is. I'm sure they just cast Lex Luthor though.
Yeah, I guarantee you it's going to be... I think they're doing that as like a final like send-off. Because here's the thing. Again, James Gunn wants to tie in everything. You may be wondering, why are these shows getting canceled, but CW Gotham Knights is still going on? That's because CW has like more of an independent, like, is more independent from Warner Brothers and can afford to pay the licensing rights. So they can afford to make a show that was better off staying in some Tumblr fan fiction.
Oh my God. Did you see the trailer?
I did, and I lost brain cells because I'm like, okay, you're not even using Damian Wayne as Batman's son. That's the first red flag. And then the Carrie Kelly suit. Oh wait, no, the bat suit.
The bat suit was yes.
And a Halloween bat mask. I'm like, you couldn't have at least tried?
Like, just go walk over to the Titan set. Like, can we borrow your cowl for 10 minutes?
Just 10 minutes. That's it. He's dead. It's no problem. But I'm like, oh my gosh, this sucks so
horrible.
Bad. Oh my
horrible.
Gosh. Please just can DC just kill that, please? James Gunn, do something. And so why Marvel fans have less expectations from DC than DC fans from DC movies. And here's the thing. The thing about it is that I have no confidence right now, and we're actually going to go to the movies. We actually have, with the movies, I have a little bit of a problem with James Gunn, because here's the thing. I have no confidence that they can actually complete the story that he has planned, this 10-year story, because the past, 10 years, ever since BVS, it's taught me that, guess what? When times are tough, DC will 100% like heel turn at the last second. That's why
Okay, are we talking animated movies or live action first?
Live action.
Okay, I agree.
We'll start with live action.
I saw the Shazam trailer yesterday.
Looks good.
Really?
By the way, I spotted Wonder Woman in that trailer.
Wait, you did?
So remember that scene where he's talking to someone and goes, maybe I should be writing this stuff down. He's talking to Wonder Woman.
Okay, well, it still looked like generic Marvel stuff.
Well,
generic rap song. Maybe I'm just being too pessimistic lately because I don't. Though. I know, and I am pessimistic with it because I'm at the same point where you are. I don't think they can deliver because they haven't.
Because here's the thing. What James Gunn should have done, he would not be getting this amount of backlash if he had given us like a Kingdom Come movie to end this universe. That's it. Just give one final movie with Cavill, Godot, Affleck, and just end it. And then you can move on. But no, he's like, nah, we're just going to lazily just use Flash to sort of reboot it, but we're still in that sort of story. But I'm going to half-ass it, essentially.
Well, Saggy has a good point. James Gunn did Peacemaker and Suicide Squad.
Both
if
actually,
anything, he deserves the benefit of the doubt for those. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Suicide Squad underperformed, and actually, it turns out it came out that HBO Max inflated Peacemaker's numbers significantly.
Wait, a corporation inflated numbers? I'm so shocked.
No, I know.
I'm just kidding.
But the people, granted, okay, so here's the thing. For the longest time, I didn't watch beyond episode 3 of Peacemaker. But in the interest of intellectual consistency, I decided, since I'm always telling people to give Zach's whole story a chance, why don't I just watch all of Peacemaker and give it a chance? That's fair. I did it. It improved my opinion of it. It still was not my thing, but I was still like, okay, I see what he's going for. But also, the reason why I bring up that underperforming, both movies underperformed, is that people treat it like he's had hit after hit after hit at DC. He hasn't.
But they were well received. That's the thing. Suicide Squad, even the reviews were well received. A lot of people were talking about Peacemaker, how good it was. For being a BC level character, it got a lot of people interested and invested.
There's one point here, though. Zaslav cares only about money, the almighty dollar. That's why he canceled Batgirl and all that stuff. So I'm like, these movies underperform. This movie and show underperformed, like, monetarily. That's my point here. So I'm like, okay, but let me be clear. I'm going to give James Gunn a legit chance, at least until I see his slate. Then I'll start to make my judgments on what his priorities are, because I disagree with a lot of people in the Snyder community just saying it's automatically going to be bad. Granted, because of his past, because of his humor of the past, they're afraid that Superman is going to be making poop jokes and all that stuff, which I get it.
Yeah, but I get it. But I also think they couldn't have been, like you're saying, they underperformed. I understand they may have underperformed. There was reason so. But if they really thought it did that poorly, they wouldn't have hired him as their main guy.
Mm-hmm. Oh, and by the way, but here's the thing. I get that. But that was during a time when people were more willing to go to the movie theaters. Not really. It was day and day. I mean, it depends on the person. It really does come down to person. But well, here's the thing, too. As far as I know, it didn't even work well with HBO Max either. So, just saying. I don't know. I would have to look up numbers. I'm not sure. Need more boost? No, we don't. But I'm just saying, if it did as bad as what you're thinking, they wouldn't have hired him as their main guy. They obviously have some faith. Well, yeah. And here's the thing. Of the Snyder community, the only reason why they're pissed off is because Zach wasn't put in charge of all of DC, which I didn't want either. Because here's the thing. I don't like having one person in charge of all of DC. I thought they were going to do like a committee thing where like to have a group of creatives come together and make the move and like decide about on the direction of the things. But I get they don't want too many hands in the kitchen. And again, the dude knows DC, so I'm going to give him a legitimate chance. And I'll give him at least until his slate is announced, because once I see his slate, then I can say, okay, based on this, I'm not really liking a lot of his priorities. Or I could say, hey, 100%, like if he announces like Superman, if he starts off with the Justice League members only, then I'll be fine. But if he goes off like just Superman, Booster Gold, Bloodwind, and like all these characters no one's ever heard of and just has Superman, then I'm gonna be pissed.
Saggy makes a good point. He's not directing everything. He's the person at the top. So he's going to be the person handing off, you do this, you do that. Mm-hmm. He's directing, I think, Superman, though.
Which I'm like...
Or writing, I'm not sure.
The thing about it, he's writing. But the reason why that's not a good look is because he announces Cavill is not going to be back as Superman. I'm writing my own Superman movie. It's not really a good look.
I mean, but if you're doing a reboot, don't you just said you want them to take chances with the comics. Don't you want the same for the movies?
No, but I mean, no, I'm fine with that. I'm fine with the idea of that. I'm just saying, in the same tweet thread where you announce we're not going to have Cavill back, don't announce that you're writing a Superman movie. Just say he doesn't, but just say for right now, we're going with a younger Superman and just we're moving on. Don't say it's a movie out, because it looks like he got rid of Cavill just so he can write his own Superman movie.
Oh, I didn't ever, I guess I never got that impression.
Yeah, and that's fine. Everyone's entitled to their own interpretation. That's really just that's where I really objected, because I get it. By the way, I have a theory that he's going to bring Cavill back as Superman right now. It's just what he's doing is he's retconning out a lot of Man of Steel stuff. And then in other words, the young Superman is going to be a temporary thing until DC builds up funds. And then they can like retcon out a lot of the controversial parts of Superman's origin.
I think he's just trying to build a foundation. And I think that's a smart way to go. I think... Starting off, Cavill's what? I don't know. Is he in his 40s yet?
Yeah, but that dude is... Here's the other thing, though. Speaking of that, he's keeping, as far as we know, he's keeping Pattinson, and Pattinson is like 3 years younger than Cavill.
That's a pocket universe.
No. But the thing is that he got rid of Superman just because he was too old. And I'm like, but you're keeping that guy.
But he's not the main Batman.
True. But if you think about it, also my other point is that Cavill is. I think Cavill could have played a young Superman if you had given him the chance. That's the issue. You didn't try it.
I get it. People are upset, but you can't have a 20-something character played by a 40-something-year-old man. And honestly, if you blame anyone, you should look over at The Rock, because it was him that brought him back. He used him for leverage. And
they gave him they didn't give him an actual written contract. So I'm like, well, that's stupid. And also,
that is dumb. Right. That is so dumb.
All right, I'm gonna say this right now to all my audience, all the Snyder audience. I'm gonna tell you this: don't blame Gunn for killing the Snyderverse. He didn't. You know who did? Hamada, Emmerich, Sarnoff, all the people at Warner Brothers who basically gave us Justice League.
I agree.
That they're the reason for it. In no way is this the responsibility of James Gunn. He's just saying, look, at this point, we have to reboot and everything. Maybe down the line we can do an Elseworld story, or like a comic book series, or like an animated movie series where we complete the story. But right now, let's just fix DC right now. And I'm like, okay, that's fine. I appreciate that. I appreciate your honesty, sir. Oh,
I think that's what we need. I think a lot of what we need also is nobodies, like Gal Gadot was. She had a few movies under her belt, but we didn't really know. She wasn't a household name.
She was known as the girl. In fact, that's what I said when she was cast. I was like, really? The girl from Fast and the Furious? And I was like, oh my gosh. We're Jason Momoa. Which apparently he's kind of staying. Yeah, I mean, it's looking
he's
like
gonna be Lobo.
He's going to be Aquaman and Lobo. That's what I think.
I think he's going to be Lobo, and I think it's a good role for him to play. And if they are doing Lobo, that means they're looking at something different for the Superman universe, which, again, they're taking a chance. I think they could do something like a lean into American Alien, or even that, what was that story, that animated one that just came out, Man of Tomorrow?
Yeah.
Do something like that. Do something different. We don't need a Zod storyline. I'm sorry, but Zod can be rather boring sometimes.
Or a doomsday story. Can we please not do the death of Superman again, at least for another like 5 years?
Why not just do a corruption at the highest level through Lex Luthor and establish that relationship? And then you could eventually build on, because Lex has plenty of people in his gate to bring in more villains for the other people. We could do eventually build to a Legion of Doom type thing or an Injustice. You know, there's a lot of things. We don't have to go huge as long as the storytelling and character work is there through Superman.
Now, what I don't want Superman to be stuck in the Christopher Reeves like characterization, because that like worked for that time period. Yeah, it's not going to work nowadays. I'm sorry. It's just not going to work. There was a reason why the general audience saw Superman as a joke beyond the Trunks. They were like, oh, this Boy Scout is like, gee willikers, I'm going to go save a cat from the tree. Everyone's like, okay, dude. There's a reason why Batman movies sell more, because everyone's like, okay, so Batman's realistically what a superhero would be.
Okay. I do think Clark Kent could be a little goofy and funky, you know,
Yes. But the Superman himself, I'm like, no.
I agree.
Can we have, because that's why I like Man of Steel. That's a realistic take on what Superman would be like if he existed today. And that's why the general audience, for the most part, was like, oh, okay, I like this. That's cool. So that's really well. Because actually, if you look at the articles coming out from when Man of Steel came out, they were like, oh, this is great. DC has a hit on their hands. Just saying. All of Zack Snyder's movies in the DCU did well. Yes, they did. Aquaman is part of the Snyderverse. That's why he didn't give an origins. Yeah, I count Aquaman as part of the Snyderverse because it references the Steppenwolf fight, and I count it in the Snyder Cut continuity because there's nothing in there that doesn't. Tell me anyway. But anyway.
I would count it too, just because those files from BVS were showing Jason Momoa's Aquaman.
Except for like the Mera has an accent thing, but that all just like.
That was terrible. Yeah, and it was Amber Heard, so let's just get rid of it.
Yeah, exactly. Let's just. I'm telling you, and you said it the last time you were on. I think we need an actual Flashpoint movie where Gal Gadot cuts off her head.
Oh, that would be wonderful. Everybody would be there. That's $1 million.
Stand up and cheer.
$1 billion thing right there. You got in your hand just because people hate Amber Heard. There we go.
But okay, in terms of movies, I want to see. I want a Blue and Gold, Booster Gold, Blue Beetle movie. Is that too
like
much
a buddy comedy type thing?
Yes, I want that so badly because that would be so good. If you want a comedic take on the DC universe, right there.
That's a great idea. And I think people love buddy comedies.
Particularly plus with the success of Deadpool, people like self-aware comedies, and that's basically Booster Gold and Blue Beetle.
I want a Selena Kyle heist movie.
Ooh, that would be fun. Like the animated film they did with her and Batwoman.
Hunted?
Mm-hmm.
I love Hunted. I never expected to like it because it's very much so like anime-esque, the way they've done it. But that was one of the best Catwoman stories in a very long time.
Mm-hmm. Yes, I love that. It was so good. Because here's the thing about Catwoman. And Raymond sums it up. Ocean's Catwoman.
Yes, that's exactly what I'm thinking. Like something along that lines, even though I know it wouldn't be in the first phase. You've got to really establish your main characters. But in the long run, that could be a very different take on a character, on a superhero character, right? Yeah. You don't expect to have that type of movie, but it would be perfect for Selena.
Yeah, and what's interesting, and speaking of that, I think I want a Batman Catwoman team up movie. That's what I want, because they could play off a bit, essentially like a better version of Tom King.
Oh God!
To be clear, I like Tom King's writing in some spots. Like I love Sheriff of Babylon. It's just. The second half of his Batman run is like
the second half is where it really goes downhill.
Yeah, Batcat, I was like, okay, this is pretty interesting, but the second half of his Batman run is like, oh no.
I also think that they need to establish Bruce Wayne. When they establish Bruce as a character, they're going to go without with the origin without the Robins, but I do think eventually they need to go in and focus on how important not only Alfred is as a father, but how important Bruce becomes as that father. We haven't really gotten a good Batman, Batman Forever doesn't count. We need a good story where we get an introduction of a Robin and learn, you can go into the adoption process, what happens, what he could, borrow off of, talk to Ma and Pa Kent, how they they were able to adopt Clark. There are things that can be done, but that's how you start introducing the Bat family. Is through that first Robin.
Now, my question is, okay, so James has been very clear that he's not doing Origins. Now, how far in the future are we starting? Are we having, is Dick Grayson the Robin at the time, or is he just Nightwing? And are we going to
I didn't know that.
Yeah, because he said he's not doing, because I get the feeling that a lot of these creatives know we've seen the Batman origin 80 freaking times, so we're done. But I'm wondering how far is Tim going to be the Robin, or is Damian? Because I think he would have, and here's the thing, Dick and Jason are like recognizable as their like newish personas that I don't think that they would go back and have them be Robins again.
Wouldn't it make more sense for it to be Tim?
Yeah, particularly with like with all the comics and stuff, and maybe they could actually have a good Robin series, but that's besides the point. But
and then they could even add on eventually, bring in Talia and have the Secret Son type thing.
And you're just shipping that Bruce and Talia thing.
I'm totally shipping it, and that's why I want that story to be told.
It's better than Wonder Bat, I'll give you that. So anyway, but, yes, I can't stand that. But I would love a Bruce Talia movie because here's what I like about Talia, because it seems like because Talia was like at a time when Bruce was like not even, because here's the thing, Bruce Wayne died in that alley. We all acknowledge that. So this was during a time when Bruce was like trying to figure out who he's going to be, and then Talia was there. So I was like, oh, okay. And Tevye, that's not going to happen for like many, 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 many years, because they're going off of a younger Superman, like significantly younger. Like, I'm just telling you, it's not going to happen for like maybe like as long as we got from Iron Man to Endgame. That's how long it's going to take. That's all I'll give you. But anyway.
Yeah, but it's Tevye. He'll wait that long if it means it's coming.
He'll do it. He'll do it. But I do want more animated movies for the Super Sons, because that first one was great. But anyway. But that's why I think Talia works in a certain degree. I just don't think she works as well as Catwoman, I think.
And I can agree on a logical standpoint. I just like them together personally. I just love Talia. I love all the ninja girls. And I think it's just a personal thing. I know they don't work. I know I just joke around. But
now,
what about a Justice League Dark?
Oh, yes. Directed by Guillermo del Toro.
I don't know anything he's done.
Oh, he's done he did that. Well, for one thing, he did Pacific Rim 1, and then he did, what was that movie where that girl falls in love with a fish man?
Aquaman.
No. It's not a DC movie. But yeah, I see what you're saying there. But wasn't that one? But anyway, he's known for doing all those really
Did he do a Pinocchio movie recently?
He did Hellboy.
The original or the second one with?
I think the original.
Okay, all right, there, perfect. That's all you had to say. Yes.
Or he could do a Swamp Thing movie. I like a Swamp.
Oh my god,
I love that Swamp Thing show. I'm just gonna tell you that right now. I really.
It was so good, wasn't it?
So good. I was like, oh my, I want more of this. Oh no, it was canceled before it even premiered.
And the thing is they did some race swapping and stuff. And it was done so well, nobody cared.
And Tevye,
like with Madame Xanadu.
That's going to take 10 movies, not movie 4. No. They're not going to do that. But anyway.
Not unless they started in their 30s. And I don't think they're starting that late in life.
Because the actor's supposed to be like 25 to 30, I think, or something like that.
Yeah.
Something like that. Yeah, that they're not doing that anytime soon.
You can't establish a super family until you establish a Superman. And you have to have a good foundation if you want it to stick.
And you can't have a super son without Wonder Woman being the mother. I'm only kidding. But anyway, I'm going to piss off everyone on this stream. But yeah, that's my little thing here. Another thing we need is a Green Lantern movie, like a good Green Lantern movie. Well, a universe.
Bring Ryan Reynolds back.
Lantern. Yes, give him Hal, because he was a good Hal.
I was kidding. I did not expect that response.
No, I think he was good as Hal.
I think no matter what Ryan Reynolds plays, he plays himself.
Yeah, but
just like The Rock.
Oftentimes, Hal is kind of a Ryan Reynolds.
That is true. But, okay, so if they're doing Green Lanterns, do they do Hal or John?
They could do both, a buddy cop movie.
I like it.
Yeah. And they can bring in like all the other lanterns, and then eventually they can introduce like Kyle and Black Phoenix. You are really getting on my nerves here, dude. But
Black Phoenix is awesome.
But they could also have like eventually introduce Jessica and Kyle, because I want a live action Jessica Cruz. That'd be oh boy. Here's a good one. Chris.
Actually,
Pratt,
yeah. Okay, and he even said he was going to bring over some of them.
Yeah, so I'm like, ooh. And Robert asked comments like, okay, here's the biggest question. Do you think Gunn will have a DCU that'll be more accurate to the MCU? Or will it be similar? I mean, some movies are good. I mean, how do you define similar to the MCU? Because if you're talking about comedy, well, it depends on the character. I hope it depends on the character, which I think so, because here's the thing. He worked on Brightburn. He didn't direct it or anything like that, but he worked on Brightburn, and yeah, that shows me he can work on projects that aren't comedies. So there you go. But I think some characters, like Shazam, are fine being like that, like MCU style humor, because that's the character.
Yeah, I get it.
Oh, you said comics accurate. Snyderverse was comics accurate. What are you talking about? But anyway, but in terms of like a lot of, I guarantee you, under James Gunn, he won't let like a repeat of Cassandra Cain. That I guarantee you is not going to happen.
Yeah, I do think. Was the early MCU not accurate?
And by the way, the MCU itself is not comics accurate. I'm just going to tell you that right there.
She-Hulk was. I'm just going to tell you that right there.
Okay, yeah. By the way, I read that. I read the first arc of that newer She-Hulk series. That is so good.
Rainbow Rowell. I love it.
Yeah. It's so the art on that is great. The covers are fantastic. I'm like, yes. I wonder if Ryan Reynolds will be up for that. It would be an opportunity to rehabilitate his Green Lantern role. Yes, yeah. It was, again, he's shown that he can rehabilitate roles, because we all know what happened with DP.
Well, okay. But would that be allowed? Here's the thing. Would Marvel allow that in their contracts?
You mean, would DC allow that?
You don't think that Marvel has something that says you can't go to a competitor like that?
Well, is he under a contract like that? That's the question.
That's a good question. Yeah. I mean, I would assume so, now that they're doing the new bringing Wolverine back one more time.
But is this going to be like? Oh, but here's the thing. You know, you have that's a good question, because we actually have never had it. I don't think have an actor play roles in the MCU and the DCU. So that is actually a really good question.
It would be interesting to see him actually redeem that.
If you, by the way, here's my hot take for the week. I've had many hot takes, but when you look at the MCU was more comics inaccurate than the DCEU ever was. I'm going to tell you that right now.
And I'm a DC person, so I guess I never picked up on that.
Oh, trust me. As someone that I read less Marvel comics than DC, but yeah, by the way, if you want a black Superman movie, Icon
would be amazing.
Val Zod, and that's what Michael B. Jordan is doing, but I guarantee you it's not going to happen because of what's going on with James Gunn, but that's the point.
Val Zod over Calvin Ellis, too, just because, like, Calvin Ellis is super annoying as president anyway. Like, nobody in their right mind could grasp the idea that this man is a president and intergalactic superhero. He's got so much time on his hands. Stop the cap.
Yeah, you can't do that. It does, because you can't be a good and then make it out like he's a great president. You can't be a great president, be away from Earth for like
because he's
months on
Obama.
end. Well, yeah, that's besides the point. But anyway, they did that for political points. I'll give you that. Yes, the MCU was super comics inaccurate. Except
I apologize. I didn't know.
It's all good. But that's my thing. But another thing that I really want to see is a Titans movie. We need a Titans movie.
Yes, like George Perez Titans.
Yes. Watch, it's the Megan Fitzmartin stuff. I'm like, no.
Here's the thing: Titans work really well, but they won't work in the first couple movies because you need to establish who they're preceding. You know, you've got Robin, you've got, and then not only that, but you could introduce, that could be a way to go into the Justice League Dark stuff with bring in Trigon, bring in Raven, and have it be centered around that. Now, they tried the Titan series, and the first 2 seasons were pretty good. The last season, 3 was where they lost me when they had Bruce kill. I was just like, nah, Bruce doesn't kill. This Red Hood is a joke.
The Red Hood is like, oh my gosh, that's a horrible.
Well, they introduced some interesting concepts, like making. I thought it was a really neat way with Scarecrow, because
I like
Scarecrow. He was great, and in order to dull his mind, because he's such a smart man and he's always thinking, he was a stoner. Like who thought of that? That was a really brilliant way to bring that in. But you need to go less gritty at first. It was a very, very gritty emo show.
Cole, we need a Ruby Rose Batwoman movie. That worked out very well. Oh my gosh. Titans Red Hood was not Jason. Yes, exactly.
That's facts. That's facts.
And Captain Marvel in the MCU was a completely different origin, and Guardians of the Galaxy was actually not comics accurate. Well, arguably improved it, but that's besides the point.
And that was James Gunn. But James Gunn has a very good way of taking characters that are lesser known and making them interesting and making them relevant.
But yes, exactly, 100%, and that's why I'm excited to see what he does with like the lesser known characters, because he can do it really well. But here's another movie that I want: Batman Under the Red Hood.
That would be amazing.
Do that,
and Talia would be there. See?
Oh yeah, that would
everyone's happy.
Everyone's happy there.
Under the Red Hood, and then you could have spin-offs of Jason as Red Hood later on once he gets his shit together a little bit. You have representation there because you have Onyx. Like, she's a badass.
Who's Onyx?
Onyx is from the League of Assassins. She's reformed. She moves to Gotham. She's the black chick with a bald head.
Oh,
she helps Jason out.
I think I remember that. I don't remember that.
Not a big role, but just she was the first one from the League of Assassins that Bruce trusted in Gotham.
Mm-hmm. Yes, and yes, Raymond's on my side on that, because the thing about Under the Red Hood, it shows that Batman's way of doing things isn't always the right way because of what happened with Jason. Because Jason makes a good point. He goes, "How many people are you directly responsible for because you refuse to kill the Joker?
Yes.
And don't tell me if I start killing now, I'll never stop. No, you could stop. You just choose not to."
Braun makes a good point, though. It would probably have to be done in 2 parts. It would, because it's a massive undertaking, but again, that's taking a risk that I think would lead to reward, because it is such a good story. It really, really is. And there's a lot of characters in there that deserve just the fact that you're getting this awesome Black Mask to me. And Black Mask is an amazing, super underrated as a villain.
Yeah, and here you go. This one's for you, Tristen.
Yes, I agree.
That is really weird.
That was weird.
But I was looking through your channel and saw a video titled "Batman Returns the Christmas Movie," so I subbed just for that. Yes, it is. It's an important Christmas movie. But yeah, it has to be two. The way I would do the two parts is it ends right at that scene with Batman realizing that Red Hood is Jason, and then the next movie picks up right after that.
Yeah, that would be a perfect spot because that would be a great cliffhanger too.
Exactly.
Like, of course, people will go look at the comics, but that's the one thing I kind of have. Well, and I kind of have, not that, okay, I'm going to use this as a reference. Obviously, it's not the same thing, but The Last of Us has been coming out as a show.
That show is so good.
It's amazing, but you know everything that's happening, beat by beat.
Not me, because I've never played the games.
Okay. Fans of the game know every single point. So much so that we're getting exact rooms that are made the same. Some fans like this, but some fans want change. There can be enough, they can use enough of their creative liberties to change Jason in the storyline, just tweak it so it keeps us on the edge of our seat, so we're not seeing a live action version that we've read before and seen the animated movie.
Yeah, exactly. But and honestly, Dave makes a good point. Affleck's Batman should have had it under the Red Hood movie because it was set up in BVS, and if there's any movie that fits a Red Hood like story, it's Batfleck.
Yeah, I could see that, but I don't even know. Like, I don't know enough actors that I don't want a Jason Todd like we got in Titans. That
Jensen
dude was
Ackles.
a little punk and he was a child.
Jensen Ackles, just saying.
Isn't he too old? Isn't he like Ben Affleck's age?
Yeah, if we're going with a younger Batman, he can't exactly be Red Hood.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, that sucks. Damn it. Thank you, James.
But I would love to see I think they need to establish the Justice League, but I also think there's a huge audience out there for the dark magic type stuff.
Yes. All right, now let me ask you this. What's your lineup for the Justice League and the Justice League Dark?
Okay. Obviously, you've got the Trinity, the Holy Trinity. You've got the Holy Trinity. Ooh. I really like when they have Ali and Dinah.
Okay, I can see
because
that.
I think that couple dynamic works.
Plus, you have more of the non-powered people that are not Batman to kind of bring the team down to earth, because Batman's Bat God at this point.
Right. And Ali's a little bit of a raging liberal, and it works funny if you bring in Hal.
Yes. That's another one really I want. Well. A buddy movie that's hard traveling heroes. That's what I want.
And they're good. There's nothing like mean about it. There's nothing. They just work really well back and forth to realize two different sides and two different opinions.
Can be best friends. So
exactly.
That's the thing. There you go. Hell,
and then Martian Manhunter. Top it off with Martian Manhunter.
Yeah, you have to have John Jones on the league. You just have to. Now, what about Justice League Dark?
Well, Zatanna, Constantine.
Mm-hmm.
No monkey. Just
no Bobo. You don't want Bobo.
No, I don't think it would translate as well.
Yeah, kind of. Exactly. I do agree with you, unfortunately, because I like Bobo.
I don't hate him. He's just like,
he's a monkey who drinks that from a flask. You can't beat that.
He gets annoying at times, a little like self-loathing sometimes. Right. And then to put that on a big screen, like I want Ragman.
Ooh, and by the way, Brown brings up a good point. A Zatanna movie.
Yes.
Yes.
With Constantine. Not Keanu Reeves Constantine, because that's Constantine in name.
I don't think they would do Khalid Dr. Fate. I think they would go with the original Dr. Fate, because Khalid was only
I can't think of his first name.
Kent something, but anyway, he's why they wouldn't do Khalid, because Khalid is in a very like niche part of DC and the Earth 2 universe. I don't think they would go with that, but yes, I would be fine with that if they went with it, because Khalid was pretty cool, and Ragman is awesome.
They could do something along the lines of, if they want to tie it in, he took over.
Yeah,
was Kent Nelson, right? Kent Nelson,
yeah.
He took over. I like Khalid. I don't know if that would necessarily work. I think it would be a good way, again, to do diversity that's comics accurate.
Yeah, exactly. And
you could do Witching Hour.
I heard the Constantine actor from the terrible show that I got canceled after one season nailed the world. You guys watch? Yes, I in the CW. That's the one thing the CW got right. And what's up, Prime? How you doing? And I disagree. I think one would jump at the chance for another established POC.
Yeah, but that's what I mean.
But is he really established though at this point with the comic book fans? Because I don't hear about him at all.
Really?
Not really.
Think he was just in, and I don't remember what it was. I think he's established enough. He was in that Convergent stuff. He's been in enough of the more recent Justice League Dark, but I do think he's definitely lesser known.
But I do think they shouldn't go with the mantle receivers until they establish the original mantle bearers, is what I'm saying.
I get that, but if they, again, are
and
tying it in.
Here's the thing, Raymond. I get he's in the comics, but you have to... They're going for the general audience right now. And thanks to Black Adam, the general audience knows Dr. Fate as Kent Nelson for right now. They have to establish Kent Nelson first and then show him handing the mantle off. That's what has to happen.
What about Deadman?
Ooh, I would love Deadman's hilarious. That'd be so much fun.
And he could use his possession skills. They could do a lot with that.
And it would have like an actress have like a Boston accent.
Oh my God. I think that would really, really work well. And then they could even do like Madame Xanadu.
Ooh, that'd be fun. I would love that.
There's so much they could do. I would love to just see Witching Hour, because if they had a Wonder Woman previous to that, they could tie it in.
And Prime, we're talking about our lineups for Justice League and Justice League Dark.
There's so many good ones. There is.
I think that they're going to roll him in. But
Enchantress.
How about Swamp Thing?
Yes, we need a Swamp Thing. And they could even, again, going if they're talking about diversity, you could start with Alec Holland and eventually over the next 4 or 5 years, have him handed over to Levi Kamei.
Yeah, that's fine. That's what I'm saying with these characters. You have to really. Robert says, "What about the female Dr. Light? They almost have done. They have not done the male version of live actions. They can introduce her right away. Anything to erase the botching that they did in the Flash."
They have male Dr. Light live action in the Titans show.
Yeah, they do, and I think again, Robert. Whenever they, I don't think under any circumstances they should really do like the mantle, the receiver as the first person in the movie. That's just my whole point there.
They should start off with the original mantle holders.
And again, for the love of God, and this applies to comics as well. Don't have multiple people have the same mantle. Don't have 2 Aquaman. Don't have 2 Superman. Don't have 2 Batman. Just have Clark, Bruce, Arthur. That's it. If you want like John Kent to not be Superboy anymore, Jace Fox not be Batman, and to not, if you want John Kent to not be Superboy, give him his own identity. Which, by the way, that's another theory I have. I think eventually he's going to walk away from the Superman mantle and then go and have his own identity, which he should have had from the beginning. But that's
I think that needs to be done, especially because you already have Superboy. He needs his own name, and I like him as Superman. Don't get me wrong, but I also think it's unfair to him, to have to piggyback off his dad, because he's a good character on his own.
Because I get it, I get that. Yes, the father would want them. It's the whole father passed the mantle down.
Right.
It'd be one thing if Clark retired. Speaking of 5G, it'd be one. But the whole idea of having them both be Superman, they both be Aquaman, they both be Batman, it doesn't work, particularly if you're trying to establish a universe and you think, because what we're getting into is what Marvel went into when the MCU first started off, because they had it where you would see the Thor movie, go to your LCS and go, okay, so I want to read a Thor book. Who's Jane Foster? That's what's going to turn into. Who is John? I thought Clark was Superboy. Was just Superman, and that's what, because I could go outside right now and ask my neighbors, okay, so who's Superman? And they say Clark Kent.
Of course.
Not John Kent? Who's John Kent?
Yeah.
And the only best way, the fact that he was in a comic series that wasn't received that well doesn't help his brand as Superman.
Okay, you mentioned Justice League Dark and Justice League and Titans. Who would you want as the main villain?
Oh, don't go Darkseid, for the love of God! Don't go Darkseid.
No Darkseid, no Darkseid, no Steppenwolf, no nothing like that.
Okay, so assuming they have time to set it up, I would say Legion of Doom. Assuming if they haven't set up all the villains, which they could easily set them up, but let's say they don't want to go Legion, I would go with maybe Starro. Harken back to the original Justice League stories. Although he did, James Gunn
Suicide Squad.
Or the Suicide Squad villain for some reason. By the way, Robert asked a good question. What about the Flash? Would you have
Flash
Wally or Barry?
The Titans. Oh, Wally. I used to like Barry the most, but I swear Jeremy Adams has completely made me a Wally stan.
I've been a Wally fan ever since Justice League, the cartoon show, man.
I mean, that's fair. Wally's great. I really like him now. Like 5 years ago, you asked me, and I love Barry. But Wally has been the most wholesome, sweet, amazing Flash and smartass, right?
Fun fact: my co-host Lad, he thought the Flash in the Justice League cartoon was Barry.
Oh, really?
And I go, but they call him Wally in the show. It's not like only in one episode. It's like in every episode they say Wally. I'm like, what the hell, dude?
See, I don't think they should set up a Legion that early. Okay. I think what they should do is do like Deathstroke for the Titans.
Oh, yes. Oh, hell yes. That's another movie I want, as a grounded Deathstroke origin movie.
And then if they go like Witching Hour, they could bring in Cersei, which would also bring in Wonder Woman.
Yes, there you go.
Like, there are really good ways to do this. You talked about it in the beginning. You thought maybe they'd have a couple people ahead. That's why they need somebody like Jeff Johns or Grant Morrison, somebody that knows all the lore, not necessarily to write, but to give good ideas on these characters. Yes,
that's what we need. Because we know what happens when we let these people write. We get 1984.
I cried twice. You got to at least admit when she was saying bye to Steve Trevor, and they were both just absolutely in awe with each other. It was sad.
Well, for one thing, Steve Trevor should have stayed dead.
It was still sad.
Well, here's the thing. It's more like annoying, because Steve, you know how we feel about good old Steve Trevor, and
that's true. But it was sad, and I'm a girl, and I thought it was sad. Shut up.
You know why I cried in that movie? Because I'm like, this is a Wonder Woman movie. Oh no, this is a I can't believe Wonder Woman movies can be made so poorly.
Oh my God, they did Maxwell pretty well.
No, they did not. No,
I can't even try.
No, oh no. I'm hoping that you were joking with that one. No,
I thought it was it. I thought it was. Shut up! I liked it.
The only part that looked cool was the gold armor. Yes, you do have terrible taste. Oh my gosh, if you like that, I doubt your take on like a lot of stuff right now, Tristen.
I mean, to be fair, that's a good point. People should doubt my taste. They are terrible. But I also am a DC shill, apparently. That's what the internet has told me. So anything I see that has...
You've been critical about a lot of stuff.
I know, I'm just kidding. But I love seeing Wonder Woman in action. I think it's something I never thought I'd see as a kid when I grew up reading these things. And I adore seeing this stuff.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Oh, we definitely need a Wonder Woman movie, but can we make it where she? I don't necessarily think they should go Greek gods as her villains again, because they did that in the last movie. I feel like maybe they could do Cheetah except do it well. And maybe they could do like, not really Maxwell Lord yet, because you really have to set that up.
Yeah, you do.
They could do like, see, who would be a good... That's the problem with Wonder Woman. She doesn't have that many well-known villains, too.
Dr. Psycho, they could go straight up misogyny. If somebody told that tale...
And Lord knows that would work nowadays.
That's what I'm saying, but it could be done correctly. You just have to be very careful.
It could be done. You just have to make sure to firmly establish that this is not all men. The problem with most modern writers that they'll make it so all men. That's my other problem with 1984. All the men were douchebags.
Silver Swan.
Oh, Silver Swan would actually that would work really well. And she was like one of the villains in the Bloodlines movie.
She would, and I like her as a character because you understand her reasoning. And with Wonder Woman, you got to go with the sympathetic route. You can't go straight evil because you've got straight evil in like the Joker.
Mm-hmm.
Cersei. Yeah. Cross it over with Justice League Dark. See, DC, hire me.
Yeah, hire all of us to write stuff. All pissed off. Like this way, if DC hired me to run DC, I would immediately DH John Ken just for the Twitter reaction.
Oh my God, just for the outrage alone.
That's what I tell people. If Ethan Van Sciver became editor-in-chief of DC, he would do it immediately just to piss people off.
Oh, I'm sure.
Because he's used to, because he doesn't care about Twitter backlash. Could you see a Wally exist without? No, I can't. No, because what they would probably do. I mean, no, I can't see because here's the thing. Because of the Flash show, most people know the Flash as Barry, so you can't not have Barry like at all.
But they definitely tried to play Ezra off, even though he was Barry, as a Wally type.
That's just DC Comics in general, because for the most part, they've turned Barry into Wally.
I mean, not in Jeremy Adams stuff. He's definitely... Exactly. Jeremy Adams, see, this is what they need. They just need him writing on the project.
Mm-hmm. That's well, maybe not right, because I disagree that comic book people can write should be writing in like the movies era. It doesn't necessarily work on. Dave brings up a good point. Ethan Van Sciver and Jeff Johns as co-heads of DC Comics. Yes, please.
Lord, no. They would never hire him back. I hate to break it to you.
No,
guys.
I know. It's just in an ideal world, in an alternate world, that'd be hilarious. Just for the Twitter reaction, again, they could use a villainy incorporated as villains for a Wonder Woman movie. Interesting. Wally's like Miles Morales. You need the predecessor to exist. Exactly.
I do agree. I think it's important. You could though establish. You could start instead of doing an origin. You could start when Wally was young and use it as a mentorship.
Yes, exactly. You could do, because if you're going off, you could have him be on the Titans as Kid Flash and start off and then eventually become Flash. Because you could make the whole big 10-year thing Christ on Infinite Earths. Then Barry dies and then you get to Wally being in the Flash.
Yeah, but do you actually think that they're competent enough? That's where I think a lot of people are failing to realize is you got to have competency in this.
True, but and here's the thing. They have to they have to do what Marvel's not doing and hire creatives that actually like the material. And Prime says Gunn will set everything up with the Trinity. Yes. And utilize second and third tier characters. The team that he will utilize will be the Titans, most likely, yeah. And Jeff Johns is already back at DC Comics writing. Comics, I'm fine with that. Are you against the Flashes coexisting? No. No. Well, let me clarify that. All right. What I mean is that in the movies, they would have like, okay, Barry as the Flash and Wally as the Kid Flash for right now. And then at the end of the time period, they would build a crisis. Barry dies and then Wally takes over. Now, am I cool with the multiple Flashes coexist in the comics? Not really.
Really?
I would be fine if they if they had Wally if they kept Wally and just had Barry do something else. By the way, yes, please keep Jeff Johns away from Wonder Woman. He does not write Wonder Woman well.
Yes.
That as much as a Jeff Johns like fanboy I am, and we all know that I gotta admit he cannot write Wonder Woman very well.
So wait, I'm confused. You like the Superman family, all the different characters, and the Bat family, but you don't like the Flash family?
No, because here's the difference. Okay, no. What I don't like is having multiple characters have the same mantle. Like Flash, Barry Allen, Flash, Wally West, Superman, Clark Kent, Superman, John Kent. It doesn't work.
That's fair.
That's my thing. Because I'm fine if like Barry just said, okay, you're the Flash now. I'm going to have my own, I'm going to have my own thing, or I'll retire with Linda and serve as a mentor. But it just doesn't work. And what about Jay Garrick? Again, retire. What about I'm fine with that. And Johns and Lee are consultants for Gunn and Safran. Okay, at least they're involving the comic people. And if there were any two comics people to involve in
that would be them.
DC, it would be those two exactly. That's why it's like, say what you want about the new 52. That Justice League run by Johns and Lee, top notch.
And I mean, to be fair, those are two people that are so ingrained in DC. I would want them to be giving these people ideas, because we've seen a lot. You know what? I'd put Mark Waid on that list too, a little bit, especially with the Flash stuff. I would love to see how Flash he could see. I guess I understand your reasoning for the Flash stuff, but also I think I'm so used to so many different Flashes. I don't see an issue with it.
That's true. And honestly,
just like Green Lanterns.
And honestly, I'm less against the two Flashes, because here's the reason why. Because it's become so ingrained in comics that both Barry and Wally are the Flash, and they do a better job of differentiating those two. So I'm less against it. I still don't like it, but I'm not like as against it as I am with like Superman, Batman, and Aquaman, in other words.
Yeah. I don't like when they did that Aquaman where they brought in.
So dumb.
It was not, and it was really, and I think the difference here is that the Flash is written really, really well. Jeremy Adams is killing it.
If you notice how the Flash always has fantastic writers for the most part.
Yeah, Joshua Williamson just came off of a long run. There's really good stuff there. Aquaman may work, but we didn't even get a chance to find out because you put a shit writer on it.
Exactly. It just does. Jim Lee is not going away from DC.
No.
He's not going to be.
Either Van Sciver makes up shit all the time. Let's not play.
If he were to, let me put it this way. If something were to happen to Jim Lee, he'll be downgraded from executive to creative. That's it. But I don't see him going anywhere away from DC because he's too much ingrained in. He's the public face of DC. Let's face it.
And rightfully so. His art is beautiful. He's relatively smart, but I also don't think he manages as well as what people give him. He just doesn't manage. He just, like Dan DiDio, we can give him shit for micromanaging. But he did the job. He got shit done. Well.
Now, if they could have someone to handle that stuff while Jim Lee handles, do what they have with the movies. Have one person managing that like area, and then have Jim Lee managing the creative stuff. That's it. Wait, yeah. Jim Lee is leaving DC. Even stated it. We just don't know when. Oh, that's interesting.
Where's your source? Prime.
Where is that set? And then for Francis Manipul, Venditti. Yeah, exactly. Have Jim Lee with the movies. I don't know, but again, you have, but plus when you have like guys like Jeff Johns and Jim Lee with name recognition in charge of the movies and comics, guess what? That inspires a little bit more confidence. Now, Jeff Johns maybe not so much because of what happened with the DCEU.
So what you're saying is they need to put Tom Taylor and Tom King in charge of the movies because that inspires confidence.
Okay, where's the boot button from this thing? That is a horrible idea.
Okay, they could put Tom. You know what I would love to see? I know it's not live action movies, but a deceased animated movie.
Or just live action. Just do it. Commit to it.
I mean, that would be fucking cool. I just don't think they would because that would be so much CGI. Well, they did The Walking Dead. I always managed to bring it back to The Walking Dead at least once in a stream.
Yeah, I know. You're the Walking Dead person in this group. I got it. Oh, and Jared, did you know that Junkyard Joe is originally a GI Robot series that DC denied? Well,
I actually have a theory with that.
What?
I actually think that all of the Jeff Johns side projects, the Junkyard Joe being GI Robot, Geiger being Dr. Phosphorus, I think they were all a pocket side project at DC
sure
that he repurposed for Image.
Yep. And by the way, this established what I call the Tom Taylor paradox, where he's good at writing Elseworlds, but he's crap at writing, for the most part, in continuity storylines.
And Injustice is another one.
Yeah.
Dark Knights of Steel.
Yes. I'm like, just put him in charge of the Elseworlds books and you're good to go. That's it. You're done. Speaking of Tom King, we need to do our Strange Adventures.
Oh, yeah.
That's another story that I thought of getting into, but the whole
it's
Tom
so
King thing.
Good.
Oh,
No.
Really good?
Here's the thing about Tom King. Tom King is very similar to Tom Taylor, to where if he writes Elseworlds, it can be a very good story, but almost mental healthy. Did you ever read his Mr. Miracle?
No, but speaking of mental health, I did. I have heard the horror stories of Heroes in Crisis.
Okay, that was continuity. What I'm saying is, out of continuity storytelling, Tom King has done Mr. Miracle, Strange Adventures, Human Target, Danger Street, all. Oh wait, and then the Gotham Year One. All of these stories are fan-fucking-tastic. But they dive into a more dark, sinister approach when it comes to mental health, or kind of diving into the idea of, what it would actually be to be a superhero. What actually would happen.
Yeah.
And with Strange Adventures, it's on the side of, if there was a real war, would war crimes be committed? And yes, they absolutely would. And that's what people didn't like about Strange Adventures. And I think it was a really great, I love Adam Strange anyways. I love Mr. Miracle anyways. So these were perfect characters. Omega Man, he did too. Tom King is Tom Taylor, because they both can kill it in Elseworld stories.
That's quite a comparison there.
I mean, but is it? They both do really well in the Elseworld stuff.
That's kind of true. I'll give you that one. But so let's move on to the shows. Actually, in terms of shows, I kind of want to see, like, again, a Green Lantern show that deals with the different lanterns. In other words, we have an episode on Jessica Cruz, an episode on Jon Stewart, an episode on Kilowog, maybe. It's just use that to, like, tell the stories of, like, Green Lanterns that, like, everyone knows, but can't really hold down a movie.
Okay, are they still doing the Green Lantern show?
I think so, but I think it's being retooled again.
Oh, geez. Okay, so like anthology type.
Yeah, anthology is what I would do, but tells one sort of long narrative. It's just anthology stories that both advance that long narrative.
I think that would be really smart, especially proceeding before a movie.
Yeah.
Because then you could establish some sort of lore as to what the Green Lanterns are and why they're important. You could even put Sinestro in there.
Of course,
and tell that origin and then do it. I think that would be great.
Tevye. Yes, that would work really well. And by Tevye, that's not going to happen for like significant, because here's a problem about that show. Not enough people watched it, and that last season turned a lot of people off.
I've only ever watched it. I haven't watched a lot of Young Justice. I watched on and off the first season, but I have heard good things about it.
It got super political in the last season, to the point where it got even, like, this way, it turned so many people off for that.
Oh wow, I didn't know that.
The core is highly important. Yes, it is. You have to establish the 100%. Core Hey, what's up? Hey, what's up, Retro? But yeah, they need to establish because here's the thing, because you can't. That's I think one of the things the movie did well is that it sort of introduced the core really well. And Tavia, you are not the whole audience. The general audience rejected it.
See, I had never heard it was political.
Because, and here's the other problem with the season 4 is that it did arcs. It did like 4 episode long arcs of episodes that a lot of them didn't even advance the plot of the season. So we're like, why am I watching this? But anyway,
I mean, I get it. I think Young Justice in general is needed, but I think that's a ways out.
Yeah. Oh, well, at least what they could do is just do an animated movie to end it. That's it. But Tevia wants it because at the end of the last thing of the season was they showed John Kent, and then in the season they had Damian there. So I'm like, I'm sure.
Now I know why.
I see right through it. But anyway. I wanted to finish up just with a direct. Yeah, exactly. But anyway, but yeah. So what other series do you think could do really well?
Okay, I think what they need to do is kind of what they're doing with the Batman and they did with Suicide Squad. They need to establish the movie, or either before or after, and have a spin-off to do character work. They can do a Wonder Woman series, and then do your idea with Steve Trevor as the spinoff, having him place his importance in, I know you use that for comics, but it could work in this. Yeah. And then, do a Batman and then bring in Nightwing and have his journey from Robin to Nightwing. They could do a spinoff for every single movie and be able to advance the universe as a whole.
Yeah, and by the way, I know he said that, but okay. But here's the difference: is that for right now they're cleaning it up. They're completely. That's why they canceled Titans and Doom Patrol. They don't want any confusion on what's canon or not, so they're just going to clean it up, and maybe like I'd say 5 to 10 years down the line, they'll do something there.
I think the only thing that's going to survive that is the Matt Reeves Bat universe,
which. Who knows for how long? I don't think he's going to get... If he gets a movie 2, I don't think he gets a movie 3.
Oh, really?
That's just what I'm going to... Because it's... Particularly when you find out that Batman 2 is not coming out until like 2025 at the earliest. I'm like, yeah, that tells me they could be like cutting it down a little bit.
But the Joker is coming out next year. At least we've got that. Harley Quinn.
I think we got that. And I'm interested to see what Lady Gaga does with Harley Quinn. That's another thing I think would do really well is a like Joker Harley Quinn story. That's like the crime part of Gotham,
like a Mad Love type story.
Kind of, exactly.
I would be in seventh heaven. We need more Harley Quinn in our life, and let's be real here. She is like their 4th pillar.
Yeah, I mean, DC likes to make you think that. I would disagree and say Nightwing kind of is.
Harley sells more merch and has more in her, like, she's got the main book, which doesn't sell quite as good, but the Eat, Bang, Kill tour sold really, really well. Mm-hmm. And then you've got the animated show.
True. I will give you that one, but Nightwing was great in that animated show. Jesus. That animated show was fantastic. I love that thing.
It is. It's such a good show.
Yeah. And Peacemaker season 2 is still coming. I don't think he's going to do a season 3 for that. I think it's going to be season 2 and done. And it's still coming, though. I wonder if James Gunn will do some kind of crisis in the show or a crisis series to be. No, he's not, because guess what? He's too lazy to do that. Because I said, why don't you just do like a Kingdom Come thing, end the universe, and then start off? He's not doing that. Or it's like, what about the new Batman animated series?
Isn't that being optioned?
It's being optioned to another. So for right now, it's not happening, but it's being optioned to another thing. It's being licensed to another studio. So that's a different thing, Tavia, because as long as the license holder, as the license buyer is willing to buy that license, they can do whatever they want. That's the difference between this why Gotham Knights is still happening for some reason. But that's really the point. But what would actually be really cool, Tristen, is a Trinity series. It's right there.
Explain.
Okay, so it would be it would be so. What we could do, because my problem with the DCEU, and a lot of this is because it was cut off too early, is that we never got to see like Batman, Superman, and Wonder Woman interacting as friends and like solving a threat, but doing it like, but essentially just interacting more. So if they do a movie and then series on that, they could significantly expand that, like have Superman help with Wonder Woman stuff, have the Wonder Woman help with Batman stuff. There's like, they could base it off of like 10 years down the line, Tevia, when Superman has a kid, they could adapt the Francis Manapul series, obviously change it so it's not like there was a Superman of this earth that died and then he was replaced by this Superman, but they could kind of change it to see like how now John looks up to the Trinity members.
I don't know if they would do. I mean, I could see how it is something that would be cool to watch, but if they're the main focus of the movies, don't you think they would want to start using those shows to establish B characters?
True, I would agree with you on that one. And one of these people learn that at a woke agenda is a broke agenda. Remember, I defined woke earlier, so I'm going to agree with this one because you end up alienating the audience that you go after. That's another thing they have to do. Okay, I understand that they want to represent people, but please, for the love of God, I know this is too much to ask people. If you don't have to race bend, don't race bend, because it just pisses people off. I don't care as long as the character is consistent, but you're going to turn off a lot of people. If you want to do like a Black Superman movie, Icon.
They're not going to race swap Clark Kent, though.
No
way.
I know. But if they wanted to do, but I was bringing up, was like, use the characters that already exist if you want to have like a Black version of these characters. And then Rob got my alert in my bells anyway. I'm good at PTN. Let's go.
I don't mind colorblind casting.
Yeah.
I don't have an issue with it generally, but I do understand that people do, and that people will take issue with it. Now, they've always done it. Look at Bane, look at Ra's al Ghul. They have taken characters that are supposed to be people of color and made them white. They have taken characters that are supposed to be white and made them a person of color. So let's not pretend like it's not done. But also, if they can stick, the closer they are to source material, the happier your base audience is going to be. So include characters that are characters of color. Include characters that are queer.
Yes, because then you get all these great characters finally get the moment in the shine or something like that. They finally got the moment in the sun, because a lot of these characters are fantastic characters. Apollo, Midnighter, Cruz, lot of these characters. Steel, hell yeah. He kind of got a movie, but that didn't exactly help. And what's up, Sam Falcon?
I mean, was that I've heard of that movie. I've never seen. Is that Shaquille O'Neal or something?
That was Shaquille. By the way, fun fact.
I've never seen it.
I have the comic first appearance of Steel, and thank you. I do have a nice office. Thank you. Yeah, I do have the comics first appearance of Steel. So,
dang, get that graded.
I may do that, but anyway. But all right. So, in terms of shows, in terms of characters that I think could do
Harley Quinn and Poison Ivy.
Okay. How about like any of the Milestone characters?
Ooh, Static Shock. Come on now.
Give them a series first to introduce the characters to the general audience and then jump to a movie. That's
a really good idea. I didn't even think of the Milestone universe. How many people grew up watching Static Shock? Exactly.
I'm raising my hand right there. Yes. There you go.
And that show was hella political. And it taught, but it used those politics to teach lessons.
They're not going to bring in Doomsday until years down the line, because they're not going to have they're not going to have a young Clark Kent get killed by Doomsday. As entertaining as that would be. But DC should build up the Milestone films alongside the others. That'll be interesting. A Milestone universe that then crosses over. That'll be interesting.
See, I didn't even think about that. But yes, basically, you need to bring back characters like Static because we've seen them interact with DC characters and it's fun. Just like we see Grifter in the Wildcats universe.
Wildcats, I would love that.
Yes. Grifter's my favorite. And Zealot, oh, they have a special place in my heart.
My favorites are Grifters, probably Zealot and Voodoo.
Grifter's the best. Let's be real. Cole Cash, I love him.
And I am here with Tristen from Nerdette's Newstand. Her channel information is in the description below.
He knows who I am. That's Breezin.
All right. But
he's fucking with you.
Yeah. They need some magic to go after Superman. True. That would be interesting.
I said Cersei.
Yeah, that would work out really well.
Cersei could be one of those badass villains that's able to cross over from Wonder Woman to Justice League Dark to Superman. She's an important character that gets sidelined.
Yeah, I know. It's a lot. See, here's the thing. Wonder Woman does have a lot of great villains, but they only use like a select few of them. So it's like it makes it look like Wonder Woman does not have a rogues gallery. She does.
She does. Oh. She does. You just gotta dig and you gotta find the right writer because sometimes some of the characters are written terribly. That's why I said Dr. Psycho would work if you had the correct writer. Mm-hmm. Not Jeff Johns. Keep him away.
Yes, thank you. Oh, I got one. Wonder Girl series.
Like Wonder Girls?
Girls.
As in plural?
You could have the three of them, I think.
I think so. I think it would be really cool to give Cassie her origin first.
Yeah.
Because I love Yara, I do, but she is brand spanking new.
You could have like Donna already be established and sort of been placed by Diana to be like a mentor.
Yeah. And I like Donna too, don't get me wrong, but I guess Cassie just has a little special place in my heart. Let's gender swap Wonder Girl. They do. They have Earth 11.
And he also said, which I actually like, which I actually think would be hilarious. Why not race swap Black Panther?
Because his heritage is important, the same way exactly. Magneto's is.
Jared is awesome, Breezin. Thank you very much. I do appreciate that. But yeah, sure, why not? But yeah, there already is a Wonder Boy on Earth 11. Yeah, that Earth 11 thing could be Troy. Could be pretty interesting. Donald Troy, oh boy, that would be really interesting to explore in like maybe like an animated movie, Earth 11.
Oh, I would like that.
That would be interesting because I'd like to see how like. If like the characters act different, if they're a different gender, that'd be actually really cool.
I'm just making a point. Not really. Not a very good one, at least.
So are the Amazons males on that Earth?
Yes.
Oh, okay. That makes sense. I was about to say because I was like,
yeah, and no women are allowed to set foot on the island.
Oh wow! See, here's the thing: they can't do that in the movies because that would get canceled real.
Oh my god! Can you imagine?
Oh my god!
Outrage.
So essentially, Themyscira is just one giant man cave.
Yeah, it's like the MRA Association.
Yeah. Wildstorm needs just more attention in general because those characters are amazing. The
problem is, did you read the first couple Wildcats?
The original first couple? Yeah.
No, the new relaunch.
Nope. And
it's not good. That's the issue here. We go back to the same point we've been making. You need competence. And I like Matthew Rosenberg. I think he's a good writer. I loved his Cole Cash story in Future State. But I'm trying to stick with it, but it's really hard. It's not that good.
I know. That's the thing. DC has all these fantastic like concepts, teams, characters, but they just need the talent. That's why there needs to be a talent purge of DC right now. I'm sorry, but a lot of the writing staff doesn't know how to write or and this is going to be revealed in an upcoming video. What they do is they essentially, the writers write the characters how they want them to be, not the way they are. In other words, it's like people want Batman to go past a a riot and not do it. Thank you, dude. People want a riot to essentially a Batman to go past looting because peaceful protesting, but Batman would not do that.
Yeah, that was that oh, I forget the name of it. It just ended. It was terrible. It was absolutely terrible.
As soon as I saw that, I was like, "No, I'm out. That is the dumbest thing in the world." Yeah, even Robert's like, "Oh God, Fortress."
That's what it is. No. You know another character I would like to see get her light, and I know she did in the Flash show, but I didn't watch that. Is Killer Frost.
That's an interesting character. I think they could do pretty well. And plus, a lot of the general audience are aware of the character because of the show. So yeah, I could definitely see them doing Killer Frost, particularly with James Gunn's penchant for at least authorizing projects on like niche-ish characters. But I would argue that like Frost and Vibe are less niche because of that show.
Yeah, that is true. I just think that she's such a she's interesting to me the same way that we see most kind of tragic characters be interesting, and they can ride the same line that Harley Quinn does, whereas they're like anti-hero, anti-villain. We don't know which way they're gonna go. Like, I think, and this is probably just me, but it would be interesting to see like a Punchline versus Harley.
Oh, that would actually be really cool. I would love that.
She's new. I'll give her that. Like, she would be line jumping with Punchline, but she's very interesting in the way that like she's the antithesis to Harley Quinn.
True. But would they do a Punchline series? Well, they'd probably do a series though to introduce. I could kind of see that happening.
Yeah, this is just my mind working, whereas I know it shouldn't make sense, but I still would like to see it.
Yeah, that's true. And also, I would like to precede my Booster Gold and Blue Beetle movie, Booster Gold Origin Series, which is him in the future coming to the present time. Him being the janitor, getting the suit, going back. That would be so hilarious. I would love
coming back and trying to act like he's this superstar, like this amazing guy, and then realizing like going through his redemption that we saw in 52.
Yeah, and the series could be called Booster Gold, the greatest hero you've never heard of.
Oh, that's such a good title too. And
Thank
you know
you.
what? That could lead into Booster Gold and Ted Kord, and that could lead into Jaime Reyes.
Yep. Yeah, and the series would end with him and Ted teaming up, and then it leads straight into my movie.
Yes. What do you think of the Blue Beetle movie still coming out?
I like that. I'm excited for that. It looks pretty cool. Plus, as soon as I saw what the suit looks like, oh my gosh, they nailed that. Oh, geez.
They did. And I'm wondering if they're going to do like Spider-Man eyes. You know what I mean? Like where they oh, that would be so perfect. But I'm afraid CGI, it's a one and done.
It's probably going to be a one and done.
That's a shame.
Yeah, if they do another Blue Beetle, they'll probably do Blue and Gold with Booster and Ted.
And then they definitely need to bring in Dan Jurgens and Gail Simone.
Oh, yeah. They could have Jaime show up again on like Titans or like Teen Titans.
See? That would go perfectly into bringing in the Titans. Now, I know it took Marvel how long to even try to touch the Young Avengers?
And arguably they're not doing it as well as they could be doing it.
Yes. But that's the thing. The difference between the Young Avengers and the Titans is the Titans have always been important.
Yeah.
They've always mattered.
The Young Avengers have been... The Young Avengers are the Steve Trevor of Marvel. They're just there.
Yeah, I can see that.
That's just kind of that's just the way it is. I'm sorry. There are some interesting characters there. Plus the fact the comics Young Avengers are horribly written again, and that's just Marvel. Marvel generally has poorer writing than DC, particularly nowadays. But see, it's heavier. But who says it's one and done? The Blue Beetle movie?
I don't know. That's what I was asking.
Exactly. It's going to tie into like that's what I think they're going to do because let me put it this way, it depends on how good the movie is, because if the movie performs poorly, he's not going to show up in another movie, or at least he won't have his own movie. But if the movie does great, yeah, they'll probably do more. That's just the way it works.
What about an actual JSA,
That's
not
the
a
most
rock
succinct
movie?
way to describe the Avengers and the Steve Trevor. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
JSA, that'd be interesting. They could. Would you want to put it in the modern day or the World War II time?
They could do World War II.
They could do World War II. And by the way, Tristen, will you admit the Velma series is garbage?
I've already talked about this. I think it's hilarious.
All right. We're gonna strongly disagree on that point.
But, yeah. I just think it's hilarious in the way that it pokes fun at the left.
It does?
Yeah, that's the whole show. Making fun of the left.
That's very interesting. But Blue Beetle is starring one of the actors from Cobra Kai. It's an incredibly popular show. True, but once again, if the series itself tanks, if the movie itself tanks, I don't think it's gonna get a sequel. Now, the last series that I think could really do well, and I think we kind of addressed this in the comics, a Bat Family series.
A Bat Family series?
Yes.
Fuck yes.
That's what I want.
Let's do it. I would love to see, I want a proper Huntress.
Oh, hell. I mean, that was one of the redeeming qualities of Birds of Prey. Was that version of Huntress?
That version of Huntress was a bored.
Okay, I can kind of.
She was just like, I don't know the actress very well, so she may be a great actress and other stuff.
Yes.
But she was very monotone, and I don't know. I didn't care for her. I want a proper Huntress.
I swear, Tristen, it's almost like
a curvy Huntress.
Yeah, that's true. It's Tristen. I swear, it's like you have the complete opposite opinions of whatever I have. It's hilarious, but
that's what makes it interesting.
Oh, jeez.
Hooters.
Yeah. We just need more curvy female superheroes in general, because with the whole recently they haven't been allowed to do that.
Yeah, and that's a shame, because people in general, men or women, love beauty.
Yeah. Who does? That's why Wonder Woman. That's one of the reasons why Wonder Woman is so popular. She's the most beautiful woman in DC, arguably. I don't think there's
arguably you are wrong. It's Poison Ivy and Harley Quinn, but that's okay.
I was talking about singular character.
Selena Kyle. Just saying.
Again, it's like you disagree with me. But Flash family movie, that could be fun.
It could be. I would love to see
maybe a series more.
Yeah, Wally's. You could do the very similar to something that we saw done with Superman and Lois, where you've got the family dynamic, you've got the wholesomeness, you've got the kids maybe getting powers, maybe not. Maybe, having different powers, establishing them as not young Avengers, young Titans almost.
Yeah, here we go. For a while, not all the superheroines look like flat-chested dudes. Yeah, exactly.
Well, to be fair, that happens way more in Marvel. If you look at the way Captain
Marvel, baby. When you compare her when she was Captain Marvel to when she was Miss Marvel, because I have a little bit of the old Brian Reed run, and I'm like, oh, this is definitely different. She actually looks like a woman in this one.
There is room for a muscular man, a more muscular woman, but it also matters which character it is. That you don't need a muscular Harley Quinn, you don't need a muscular Poison Ivy. You need more of an agile, softer woman.
Wonder Woman works being muscular. Actually, hang on. I'm trying to find a picture because they have here's the way Ms. Marvel, Carol used to look. Hang on, sharing screen. Here you go. Right there.
Beautiful. I love that costume too.
Oh yes. I admit I liked her way more when she was Ms. Marvel. I'm just gonna say she was a better character when she was Ms. Marvel. I'm just gonna say it right there. That was
100%.
Nice long brown hair, big eyes. I think we can all predict that Margot Robbie's Harley Quinn isn't getting recast in the reboot universe. Probably not. Oh, Carl Manverse.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty much what it is. Because when you see her flat chested, and plus the face isn't even drawn right. I'm like, what the heck? Oh, and more brunettes. I'm a fan of that. I'm a fan of that. But all right. So I think unless you have any other shows that you want to see,
the only other one I would say is Task Force X.
Oh,
Amanda's side of things.
Yes, and then each like episode is like a different lineup.
Yes, and we could get the other side because we've gotten the Suicide Squad story. Mm-hmm. We could get the other side of what's going on. Why Amanda is doing what she's doing. Why she could go full villain. It seems like at this point.
It sounds like you just want an Amanda Waller series, which I want that too. But
I love Viola Davis. I think she did great.
Please keep her because she would. If there's one character that at least acted like Amanda Waller, yeah, Viola Davis freaking nailed it.
Yeah, she did.
And but yeah, shame Captain Marvel, Carol Danvers got screwed in Bendis' horrible Civil War too. Yeah, exactly. And I still want a Super Sun show.
Shocked. I'm shocked.
Really, Tavia wants a Super Sun show. And Raymond, Bruce reads the news next day. But I can wait a little longer. But yeah, so, someone actually said a Bat Family Thanksgiving special where it's just them sitting down for Thanksgiving. Yeah, right there.
That would be awesome.
That'd be hilarious.
That would be really, and that would show the softer side of things.
I love a Legion of Superheroes without Bendis. Yes, thank you.
Legion's great, but you can't include Bendis. You just can't include Bendis. That's a lesson for all of DC.
In anything DC, because arguably everything. Normally, I don't make absolute statements, but this one is actually accurate. Nothing he did at DC was liked by the general comic book audience. Nothing. Yeah,
I can't think of anyone. Even like, I have people that I bring on that are super mega fans. They very rarely criticize, and even they will criticize that.
Yeah, because he didn't really come out of the gate swinging with Superman. We all know that. And then like Legion, Titans, because he did what Bendis always.
Naomi.
Yeah, Bendis ruins everything. Yes, exactly. And then
did you read his Naomi?
No, I didn't because
she's so perfect. How did you not know that? She is best at everything.
And then he tried to force her on the Justice League. By the way, the only reason why I have 3 copies of his first issue of Justice League is because they have the Snyder cut covers. That's the only reason why I got those, and they're behind glass right now. But I'm just like, dude, he tried so hard to force Naomi to be a character, and that's the thing. He didn't learn from when he made Miles, because Miles he didn't force to be like this amazing character. Miles had to grow, and then he had the movie. Riri was forced, and then Naomi was forced, and it's like he keeps introducing all these new characters, but they don't. But you think he would learn that either do it the way you did with Miles or don't do it because it's not working.
Riri didn't work until somebody else took over.
Yeah, exactly. That's to tell you something.
It took him losing the title for the character to be decent.
And it's like with me, I'm not a fan of John Kent, but I was a bigger fan of him in Dark Crisis when he was written by Joshua Williamson than I ever, because you can't objectively read Dark Crisis 6 and not be like, okay, that was a cool John moment. I'll give you that.
Yes. Exactly.
You just
it was his Superman moment.
That was the one time where I'm like, well, maybe I could. I faltered a little bit, going, maybe he could be Superman. But then I was like, no, I gotta stick with my guns. But that proved to be, let me put it this way, that got me interested in reading the character further. So I'm like, okay, there you go. It's kind of funny. Some writers can't write certain characters, and like we said again, Jeff Johns. As much as we love Jeff Johns, he's like one of the gods of DC. Oh, Wonder Woman.
Stay far away, please.
Bendis just, it's kind of funny. The Marvel fanboys, when Bendis left and came to DC, they were like, "Good riddance, see you later." Because remember, he's the one that had that did that horrible outing of Iceman.
And then they used the Bendis is coming. Like, who approved that? Who approved that?
My ad, if I were to run DC and completely purge DC, I would have an ad in the book, Bendis is leaving. And we're just getting rid of everything Bendis ever, completely de-Bendis DC. And I would use that terminology, we're de-Bendising DC. Is it unprofessional? Maybe. Do I care? No.
Nope. He made his bed. He can lie in it.
He made his bed. He can lie in it. It astounds me because I've read the Bendis's good writing, and the thing about him is that he started off really well, and they just had a dramatic drop off, in terms of quality. Yeah. Bendis ruined Iceman. And just think about that. Remember, he got backlash for that outing because he had someone else say, "Oh, you're gay."
Yeah, I went in your head and you're gay. How? Excuse you?
I'm like, arguably, you could do a storyline where Iceman's not really gay. It's just what happened is that Gene put the suggestion in his head.
Yeah.
Granted, I don't think Marvel's going to do that, but you have now put that seed in someone right now. You have now done that.
That's like outing somebody that doesn't want to be outed. How fucking rude.
Exactly. And I blame Batman. Apparently, he was going to be in charge of DC's 5G, which would have failed. He was?
I thought it was all Didio.
No, it was all Didio, Tevye. We all know, but we know why Tevye does not like Bendis. But
same reason many of us do not. We get it.
Same reason. Honestly, I gotta say, is the band's persona non grata at DC and Marvel now? Apparently, because they thought he was gonna bring all these sales like Superman, and guess what? Complete opposite happened. I like a Batman. Oh boy, this person
Killing Joke.
The Killing Joke movie. That's it has
some redeeming qualities,
which is the first. The part that's actually the Killing Joke, which is the second half of the movie. But besides that, it's no, I don't want Batcest.
Yeah. Oh God, no.
Oh my gosh. That is the reason why that's one of the chief reasons why I don't like Wonder Bat, because then people will say, well, it worked in the TV show. The TV show was created by the same person that thought it was a good idea to put Batman and Batgirl together. I'm like, no, he's not batting very well in terms of shipping. So I'm just going to tell you that right now. I'm out of the loop on 5G. What was supposed to be. All right, so 5G was going to be all the characters you care about were going to retire, and then they were going to be essentially all new, all different DC.
Yes, exactly.
That's essentially what it is, except less well done. And then it was going to end with Batman, Superman versus the entire DC universe. If I remember correctly, it was the most woke thing ever, because they were going to have a trans Wonder Woman.
That wasn't true.
Oh, that wasn't.
It was
true.
Yara taking over.
Oh, okay, cool. But they were but essentially, a lot. It was kind of funny. A lot of what we complain about with DC now is literally just the scraps of 5G.
There is a lot of scraps that came over. You're right. Except for they changed it to Jace from Tim, which is even worse.
It's even worse because I hate Jace Fox. But here's my problem, though. If this is parts of 5G, I shudder to imagine what 5G whole was going to look like.
Oh my God. That's not even a joke.
Oh my gosh. That's not that's a curse on this show. Jeez.
Clark was going to retire in Africa, and
why would he move to Africa?
I don't know. It was so weird.
It was so who thought this was a good idea?
The Dio.
The Dio, yeah. I wonder why he was fired, even though he did give some good direction for DC. But on that very positive note, we're gonna call this one to an end. Tristen, where can everyone find you, and what have you got coming up on YouTube?
Check out my channel, Nerdette's Newstand, and then I do my streaming on Nerdette's News. But Sunday, me and Bianca are getting back to our bad ideas. We are going to talk about, should Batman's rule be updated from no killing to no murder?
Yes.
Actually, Sunday.
I'll be in the chat, trust me.
It's actually Pika Shades did a video, and that's the inspiration for it. So we're going to talk about that, why or why not. And then, other than that, I usually stream games, or on Tuesdays, I do new comic books. I do the best of the week. It's super fun. You guys should check it out.
All right. And
that was my little spiel.
All right, cool. And yes, 100% sub to Nerdette. You'll also see me on there occasionally, but as far as what
That's
I've got,
right.
as far as what I've got coming out on the channel, I have got a video coming out on Monday, which is going to discuss. Let me pull up the title: How to Fix DC Comics. In other words, a lot of what we talked about today, but going into more depth. And I'm going to talk about. I'm going to for next month. I'm going to talk for next week's Indie Wednesday. I'm probably going to do somewhere Invincible, because the show season got announced, and I really want to cover that more. And then we'll see what happens with Under Two Capes. But and my next fan edit is going to be, I'm going to make a concept trailer for the Ben Affleck Batman movie. In other words, what was going to happen in the movie, because that's a criminal thing that we never got that movie. And and once again, if you guys have any fan edits that you guys would like to see, I made the entire. Oh my gosh. Raymond,
I seen it too.
Oh my gosh. I was even you saw it. As soon as I move over, I'm like, no. How to fix DC? Fire everyone and get new talent, probably. But and in terms of like what live streams we have coming up, tonight at 12:15 we have Comics League Dark, which is our weekly news show, and then tomorrow we're doing movie night, where we talk about the original Fox X-Men movie. In other words, the one that basically convinced everyone that superhero movies can be done right. And on that note, like, comment, subscribe to this channel. I do a lot of the same stuff Tristen does, including piss people off with my Lois Lane video. So good. That was actually really fun. I gotta say that. I was like, I've never seen so many people that can't take a differing of opinions.
It's crazy.
It was just so bad. It's like,
I felt so bad though.
It's not like I was saying eliminate the character. I was just saying the marriage is not essential. We all know why Tavia was like, no, it's essential. But my point is like, it's not like I was saying eliminate Lois Lane. I get that she has a role. It's just that one relationship. I'm like, that doesn't work anymore.
That's too funny.
But it was kind of fun. As soon as I do like even the trunks video, because I did a video about how Superman's trunks are like stupid. That's what Raymond keeps bringing up. And and when I did the Steve Trevor, everyone's like, "Oh no, you're right about that one." I'm like, "Where was this when I did the Lois Lane?" Because once again, there are certain things that a vocal minority on Twitter will not tolerate, and that's screwing with anything established continuity for Superman. And I'm like, okay, but sales were better when he was with Wonder Woman on their series. I'm just saying, objectively, the numbers speak for itself.
Exactly.
And also hanging out with Tristen all the time, because I enjoy hanging out on her channel. And if you guys have a problem with that, well, I don't know what to tell you guys. I'm just going to tell you that right there. But stay at work, everyone. And remember, DC is better than Marvel, and we're hopeful
in every way.
In every way. Even on its worst day, it's better than Marvel. But let's hope we can get a little more quality stuff coming from DC. But stay at work, everyone, and we will see you in the next one. Bye-bye.